Chapter 2474. Just one sentence. It was like a heavy blow landed on the heads of all the crew members in the cabin. Did they have money? If they really wanted to talk about savings, they probably didn't have much. Do we need a lot? Someone opened his mouth and asked. When he said this, his heart had already turned cold. What do you guys think? Don't always look at the value of this planet. While it has value, it also means that we have to pay a corresponding price. You guys just said, even if it's calculated according to the most ordinary low-level will, the internal resources can be sold for hundreds of billions. Do you guys think that if you guys can calculate it, those professional star system evaluators can't? Even if we're the first to register. To enjoy the lowest purchase discount, we'll calculate it according to 1% of the star system's price, even if it's 1 in 100 million. 1,000 primal chaos. Which one of us can afford that? Everyone's heart turned cold. 1,000 primal chaos. That was 100 billion universe dollars. With their strength, not to mention 100 billion universe dollars, they didn't even have 100 billion galactic dollars. They were adventurers, but their strength wasn't high. The things they obtained were also things that some big shots didn't want, so the value was limited. I can tell you guys very directly, this star system isn't something we can touch. Even in the entire universe, the number of people who can buy this star system in one go is very few. If such a star system wants to sell, it's either a top human family or a peak power, like the Universe Union Bank or the Virtual World Corporation. When these two giants were mentioned by the middle-aged captain, everyone was shocked speechless. These giants were too far away for them. This also made them realize how stupid it was for them to want to buy a star system. They were too naive. There's another possibility, which is to split it up and sell it. Countless families and powers will come and take a share. Dividing the star system into regions, everyone will buy the star system. Even so, splitting the star system isn't something we can buy. More importantly, we don't have a trustworthy partner that we can cooperate with. There's one more thing. From the moment we formed the team, I've been telling you guys a principle. What you have, don't be too much beyond what you can handle. In our human race's universe, there are many experts. If you star ranks have the wealth of a titled earl, do you think people will be jealous of you? That's for sure. But only cosmic system states are needed to kill you. What is this galaxy we're looking at right now? It's the wealth of a venerable or an overlord. If we really buy it, aren't you afraid of being targeted? Wealth is indeed fascinating. My life is more important. At this point, no one in the spaceship could say anything. The excitement in their hearts had also been extinguished by the words of the middle-aged captain. Indeed, they did not have a right to own this galaxy. They were too naive. Captain, what do we need to do? The crew members asked. We can't just pretend that nothing happened, right? This is a gift from the Creator to us. It didn't matter how sharp the middle-aged man's words were. If they acted as if nothing had happened, it would be difficult for the crew to let go without any fluctuations. As far as they were concerned, they had to get something. How about we give this to the Tulip family? Someone suggested. Not long ago, they were still shouting that they did not need the Tulip family and said all sorts of bad things about the Tulip family. At this moment, they were still thinking about the Tulip family. Actually, it's not impossible. The middle-aged captain hesitated for a while. The key is how we should report it. We need to highlight the importance and uniqueness of the information we have. He looked into the distance. There was a tramp tied up in their cabin. His entire body was tied up by ropes. He had been struggling intensely from the start, but he couldn't break free. At this moment, the middle-aged captain walked towards the tramp. Woo-woo. The tramp was still alive. He struggled as if he wanted them to let him go. The middle-aged man tidied up the tramp's clothes. Sika, is that your name? On the tramp's clothes, he saw the name tag that was covered in blood. The tramp nodded. His eyes kept changing. The middle-aged man hesitated for a while. She removed the seal on his mouth. Let me go. I won't tell anyone about this. Let me go. I won't tell anyone about this. Let me go. I won't tell anyone about this. The tramp's eyes were filled with pleading. He was Sika. Lucy had thrown him into the dark universe. He had the power of a titled battle pet warrior. Under the ravages of the dark universe's turbulence, his power hadn't even reached the domain realm. Fortunately, he had met these people. He had survived, but now he felt that he wouldn't be able to survive. He definitely didn't want to die. He still had tens of billions of primordial chaos that he hadn't spent yet. His beautiful life was still waving at him. Give me a reason, the middle-aged man said. I'm not a threat to you. Plus, the coordinates are all in that projection. Now that it's in your hands, can't you copy it? The middle-aged man narrowed his eyes. If it were me, I'd have to make at least a few hundred copies of this information to feel at ease. Sika couldn't help but gulp. The middle-aged man was right. In fact, the one in front of them was a copy. Even Star-Lord Sangyue hadn't considered this problem, but this middle-aged man had. Perhaps this was due to the difference in power. If it was Star-Lord Sangyue, for him, one copy was enough. He had absolute confidence and wasn't worried that someone would snatch it from him. I won't ask why you were thrown into the dark universe, but we are your saviors. You can't deny that. In other words, your life belongs to us. In the beginning, I sincerely wanted to save you, but I'm sorry. Now, I'm going to take your life. His palm slapped the tramp's head. The tramp's eyes widened. He fell to the ground with his neck crooked. He opened the cabin door. The middle-aged man casually threw the tramp out of the cabin door. From the beginning to the end, there was no change in his eyes. It was as if he had dealt with an insignificant guy. That was right. He was insignificant to the people in the cabin. All right, everything is settled. We have the absolute right to speak. Go contact the Tulip family's management. Chapter 2475. The people in the cabin held their breaths, waiting for the management to accept their communication. Hello. This is the Tulip Family Reception Center. How can I help you? A beautiful lady appeared in the projection. Her voice was clear. Hello. We are the Tulip family's outer members adventure team. This is our family crest. The middle-aged captain walked over, holding the Tulip family crest in his hand. My name is Mingbu. Hello, Mingbu Captain. The receptionist lady spoke. How can I help you? I would like to meet the elders of the family. Mingbu hesitated for a while before speaking. We just obtained a very important piece of information while adventuring in the universe. We need to report it to the elders and the family leader. May I know the level of the information? The highest level. Mingbu didn't even think before answering. From his point of view, the galaxy projection he just received was the highest level without any problems. Are you sure? The receptionist lady's eyes were filled with shock. The highest level. In the Tulip family, this was news that affected the family's life and death. Such news hadn't appeared in tens of thousands of years. All of a sudden, it was only natural for an adventurer team of outer members to say something like that to shock them. I'm very sure. Please wait. The receptionist lady hurriedly left. Not long after, a young man with long black hair, wearing a silver universal combat suit and wrist guard appeared in the projection. He walked over. Hey, Mingbu. Why is it you? Mingbu recognized the youth in front of him. Hey, you. A direct member of the Tulip family's inner circle. A few decades ago, the two of them fought over the inner circle's qualification. After that, due to his identity, Hey Yu entered the inner circle. Mingbu could only continue adventuring in the outer circle. Why are you here? Why can't I be here? Hey Yu shrugged. Don't forget, I'm a direct member of the family. I'm different from you outer circle members. What do you mean? One of the crew members shouted. Hey Yu glanced at him. Mingbu, what kind of crew members did you find? They're probably not even at the universe level. How pitiful. You can't even find a decent crew member. Damn. The crew members clenched their fists. In the projection, Hey Yu looked at them with contempt. Tell me, what exactly do you want to report? The receptionist said it was the highest level. Tell me about it, and I'll judge if it's the highest grade. Then, I'll tell the elders. Captain, let's not talk anymore. The crew members all felt that this person was looking down on them. They did not want Mingbu to tell them about the star system. We discovered a native star system. Mingbu said. Is that so? Heiyu was stunned for a moment, and his tone revealed some surprise. You actually have such luck. So what if they find out? The native star system has no master. When Mingbu's voice fell, Heiyu's eyes darkened. What about the internal experts? I'm not sure, Mingbu replied. Then I suggest that you investigate thoroughly before reporting back. Heiyu narrowed his eyes. If there are experts in the native star system, what if the clan sends an army over and they are completely annihilated? This kind of thing happened very often in the universe. Some native star systems. It looked ordinary, but there were peerless experts living inside. Some of the clans who wanted to invade were completely annihilated as soon as they entered. Such things happened everywhere. An ownerless life star system was naturally valuable, but it was just that. In Heiyu's opinion, Mingbu was exaggerating. He actually said that it was the highest level, even if there were no experts in that star system. An ordinary star system only had a dozen or so life stars and some resource stars. To the Tulip family, it was not a matter of life and death. At most, it had a certain value. He had a grudge with Mingbu. The person he did not want to see the most was Mingbu Jiangong. If this star system was reported, the clan might remember his contribution. Before that, he was more willing to discuss this Mingbu. Investigate properly. If there are any new discoveries, report back. At that time, I can help you and give you the title of an inner circle member. The image was cut off. Lord Heiyu. The receptionist lady did not understand. Next time, don't be in a rush to report everything. You have to understand clearly in advance. Their information earlier was of little value. It is not worth it to ask the patriarch or the elder. In the future, learn to be smarter, understand? Fortunately, you met me this time. If you had asked the elder to come and the information was trash, what do you think you would have done? The moment Heiyu finished speaking, the receptionist lady's face turned pale. Lord Heiyu, I will remember. Next time, I must ask clearly. Heiyu waved his hand and left. The receptionist lady clenched her fists and frowned as she looked forward. She felt resentment towards Mingbu. She had almost caused a huge disaster. The next time she saw his information request, she would definitely not be nice to him. The image turned off. The members in the cabin were all furious. He did not care about our information at all. He did not ask anything and just asked us to continue investigating. The crew members clenched their fists and shouted, "He is looking down on us too much. F***CK. Who does he think he is? We are looking for the elder. Why is he the one to talk to us? He is acting like he is the patriarch. What is he so smug about? He is the eldest son of the patriarch." Suddenly, Mingbu said, "It is very likely that he will be the next patriarch." The cabin became silent. "Captain, what should we do now? Should we contact the Tulip family?" "Contact my ass," one of the crew members said angrily. "Captain, I think we should not report to the Tulip family. Let's not talk about it to the family, but our intel. I have an idea." The crew member frowned and said, "Captain, why don't we make a bet?" "Continue," Mingbu said. "We will directly go to that star system and test the strength of the people there. If their strength is too high for us to handle, then we will continue to report to the Tulip family. If they are below the universe, we will be resource sellers. Continue. We will turn the humans there into slaves and let them mine resources for us to sell." In an instant, the eyes of the crew members lit up. "Good idea. Captain, this is a good idea. We will just sell the resources." "Captain." The minds of the crew members became active. Mingbu also took a deep breath and nodded. "Coordinate. Let us go to the native star system to take a look." Chapter 2476. Coordinates locked. The spacecraft will enter extreme speed mode. Time required: 3 months, 17 days, 12 hours, 46 minutes, and 13 seconds. Reporting, Captain. Everything is ready. In less than 10 minutes, the crew had finished dealing with everything. Mingbu sat on the sofa with a frown. "It's decided. Let's do it." He was extremely disappointed with the Tulip family. If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame that idiot Heiyu. He was the one who ruined the qualification that could allow the entire family to enter the top ranks. Sell resources. Quickly mine and sell a low price. He did not seek to control the entire galaxy. What he wanted to do now was to obtain as much benefits as possible. Even if there were experts coming in the future, discover this galaxy. At that time, he could directly withdraw from here without any resistance. This galaxy did not belong to him. Every day that they could mine was an extra day of profit. The price of strategic resources was expensive. Even if they only mined for a day, it might be equivalent to a year's worth of profit from wandering in the universe. Picking up trash. They had already picked up enough. It was time to taste the high-level resources. Captain, I still have something to say. The blue-skinned human who proposed to sell resources said. Speak. How are we going to sell the resources? The crew members said, I feel that we should prepare in advance so that we can seamlessly connect. Once we mine, we can start selling. Otherwise, after we mine, we will have no way to sell it. Hoarding resources is useless to us. What we want is profit. What do you have in mind? Mingbu said. Only now did Mingbu realize that he might have neglected his crew members in the past. Although these crew members were weaker, they had less experience in the universe and were simple-minded. But they were all living people with the ability to think. This was the case for the young man in front of him. His selling of resources made Mingbu feel enlightened. Maybe because he had wandered in the universe for too long, he had considered too many things and lost the desperation he had when he first entered the universe. To survive in the universe, sometimes one needed to be desperate. Only by doing so would they be able to obtain greater benefits. Following the prescribed order was simply too slow. I thought of two methods. One is for us to register a resource selling shop in the virtual network of the Virtual World Group. We can find someone to forge an identity to make the resources we sell reasonable. This won't do. Mingbu shook his head almost instantly. What kind of existence was the Virtual World Corporation? It would be fine if they did not forge it, but if they did, they would be instantly found out. Then I have another way. To be a war resource dealer. We can collect information on people in the universe who need strategic resources and connect the resources without meeting them. All we need to do is to open a temporary account. That's enough. Warmongers. Mingbu frowned and thought for a long time. This was indeed a way to get rid of resources, but the people they would come into contact with would be all sorts of people, and the danger would be greatly increased. Captain, we need to take a gamble, the crew member said seriously. Mingbu took a deep breath. We'll do as you say. From now on, you're the vice captain of our team. You're in charge of collecting information about the war. When the time comes, filter out a portion of the information and hand it over to me. I'll decide who to sell the resources to. Yes. The young man nodded excitedly. The other people in the cabin also had looks of envy in their eyes. You guys don't have to be envious. We're all on the same side. When the time comes to sell the resources, you'll all get a share. This time we'll do something big. Yes. The crew members replied excitedly. Everyone, go and rest. Rest up. Let's go to that galaxy with our best appearances. Yes. At the Milky Way galaxy. A spaceship flew through the Milky Way galaxy. You're way too cautious, Venerable Spirit Phoenix smiled. Ever since they entered the Milky Way galaxy, Yi Zichen had maintained a highly tense state as he observed everything within the galaxy. I'm a bit worried. Yi Zichen scratched his head with a smile. He was far too afraid that something had happened to the Milky Way galaxy. He was very worried that someone would come to the Milky Way galaxy while he was away. Actually, you really don't have to worry, Venerable Spirit Phoenix smiled. No matter what, the Lord of the Milky Way is one of the supreme beings. How could the spatial dark spot he left behind be so easily discovered? If those adventurers could find it, then Star-Lord Song Yue and the others would have found it long ago. Yeah, even so, Yi Zichen didn't know why, but he felt a bit flustered and had a bad feeling about it. More importantly, for some reason, he suspected that someone else had come to the Milky Way galaxy. He didn't know why he had such a thought. He couldn't explain it. Master, along the way, the slaves who were left behind to patrol the Milky Way galaxy also appeared. Thank you for your hard work. Yi Zichen got off the spaceship with a smile. How was it? Did anyone come to the Milky Way galaxy recently? No. The slaves answered with certainty. Yi Zichen let out a soft sigh, then nodded. That's good. At that very moment, many of the slaves looked at Yi Zichen with smiles in their eyes. Yi Zichen tilted his head and looked at them. Why are you so happy? Master, you'll know when you get back. One of the star system level females smiled. One of the female cosmic system state smiled. I'm sure you'll be overjoyed when you go back. Yeah. The other people around him also laughed and said, We're all here to congratulate you in advance, Master. Oh. Yi Zichen was confused. The slaves all laughed. Master, hurry up and go back. Leave his place to us. If anything happens, we'll notify you immediately. Thank you for your hard work. After returning to the spaceship, Yi Zichen tilted his head and looked at the Spirit Phoenix. What's wrong with them? They're just congratulating you. The Spirit Phoenix smiled. Let me congratulate you in advance as well. I hope you won't be so happy when the time comes. What? Yi Zichen boarded the spaceship and left in confusion. 6 days later, the news of Yi Zichen's return had already reached everyone's ears. When he returned, they were all waiting for him at the God Realm. Yi Zi, congratulations, congratulations. The great sage was the first to rush over with a wide grin. Then, Yang Jian and the others all congratulated him. Yi Zichen was completely confused. Su Yin, Xia Kiki, Li Jiai, and the others all followed him out. Yu Mei and the others, who had been in seclusion last time, also followed him, but their eyes were filled with a hint of resentment. Until, when Yi Zichen saw that there were a few cute little fellows behind them, he was completely stunned. He felt a sense of intimacy from a bloodline connection. He stared at one of the girls. The girl also walked over with a tilt of her head. Are you Daddy? Yi Zichen's heart instantly melted. Chapter 2477. Are you my father? The little girl tilted her head. Seeing that Yi Zichen didn't speak for a long time, she asked again in a childish voice. At that moment, Yi Zichen had completely lost the ability to think. He stared at the little girl in front of him. Mom, this person doesn't talk. The little girl turned around and ran back to Xia Kik's side. At that moment, Yi Zichen also noticed that the little girl's feet didn't even touch the ground. Maybe he was scared silly. Your father has always been a big idiot. Xia Kiki smiled and hugged the little girl. Yi Zi, are you stupid? Yang Jian bumped Yi Zichen's arm with his elbow. That's your little girl. Why aren't you saying anything? Yi Zichen couldn't help but gulp. He subconsciously glanced at the venerable Spirit Phoenix and saw that her eyes were also filled with smiles. How is it? Surprised? Sis, don't tell me you were talking about. I was talking about this surprise. As she spoke, the venerable Spirit Phoenix walked over and picked up a young lady from the ground. Who is your mother? She is my mother. The little girl pointed at Li Jiai. Li Jiai, who was pointed at, blushed subconsciously. What about you? Venerable Spirit Phoenix carried a little girl in her arms. She, the girl in the pink dress, pointed at Lu Qing. Venerable Spirit Phoenix smiled and put the little girls down. They ran to their mother's sides and grabbed their mother's hands. They tilted their heads and looked at the Venerable Spirit Phoenix and the father their mothers kept talking about. Yi Zichen really didn't know what to say. They were actually his children. Lu Jing, Xia Kiki, and Li Jiai all had a daughter. It's just that he subconsciously looked toward Su Yin. Su Yin, who was being stared at, pursed her lips and waved at the little boy and little girl in the distance. Mom, Su Yin didn't say anything. She was using her actions to prove herself. This pair of twins were her babies. 4 adults and 5 children. 9 pairs of eyes. The children's eyes were clear and filled with curiosity as they looked towards Yi Zichen. The women's eyes were like water, full of deep love. There was also an unspeakable longing. I'm back. Yi Zichen didn't know what to say. The moment he said that, the women's eyes reddened. Yang Jian and the great sage burst into laughter when they saw this. Ha ha, let's go. Go home. This time, his mood was much different from the last time he came back. He had been upgraded to a father. Come, this is the present Daddy prepared for you. Yi Zichen waved at the girl in white. She was the one who'd asked Yi Zichen questions in the beginning and had left him speechless for a long time. She was Yi. Xia Kik's baby was also the oldest among them. Yi tilted his head and ran over, then saw Yi Zichen take out a white robe. Aren't you embarrassed? Bailey couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Hearing that, the corner of Yi Zichen's mouth twitched. What could he do? He had just taken this robe from the second universe. Hollow or forging. The hollow or was very precious in the first universe. In terms of the value of this equipment, it was definitely extremely high. However, in terms of intention, it was a little lacking. Actually, he had plenty of universe-level equipment. They were all dropped from the twin-winged lizard when he was in closed-door cultivation. However, in his opinion, these pieces of equipment were not as good as the armor forged from the Hollow Oregon. As long as ye wore it, even universe-level people would not be able to harm her. Come, Daddy will help you put on. The hollow or was extremely malleable, so after Yizichin put it on, it turned into a white dress similar to before. The girl's eyes were filled with surprise. As she blinked, the dress turned blue, then pink. Ha ha! Yi laughed happily. Yizichin also squinted his eyes. Do you like it? I like it. Come kiss Daddy. Yi pouted and kissed Yizichin's cheek. Then, Yizichin called Yi-san, Yi-si, and Yi-wu over. Don't be surprised at the names of these babies. I heard that it was Lu Jing's terrible idea. She said that they would forget their names in the future. But Su Yin and the others actually agreed with this idea. Actually, they were thinking for Yizichin. Who didn't want their babies to have an outstanding name? Who asked their man to have so many women around him? Last time, it was Big Sister Yume and the others who were in closed-door cultivation. Now that they all came out, who knows how many new members the Yi family would have. Thus, they decided to just do it like that. They would decide the babies' names according to their birth order. A group of cute little princesses surrounded Yizichin. Yizichin helped them put on the hollow, or sets one by one. Not long later, they started to change like Yi, causing the entire living room to be filled with their laughter. The only one who didn't get a gift was Yi. He tilted his head and looked at his older sisters playing so happily, then pouted and looked at Yizichin, then at his older sisters. Yi, hearing Yizichin's call, Yi ran over as if he was stepping on the wind. What I gave you is different from what they gave you. As he spoke, a small and exquisite sword suddenly appeared in Yizichin's hand. The sword was completely black. The moment the sword appeared in the room, all the adults in the room looked over. Yizi, you can't give him this. Su Yin immediately ran over with a frown. Yi is still young. He doesn't understand a lot of things. If you give him this weapon, what if he randomly injures himself? Just give him the same as Yi and the others. I think it's better to give this weapon to Yang Jian and the others. My son, I believe that he is worthy of this sword. Yizichin didn't listen to Su Yan's advice and raised his eyebrows towards Yi. Do you like it? Yi didn't say anything. He merely looked at the sword in Yizichin's hand in shock and nodded heavily. Then this sword is yours. Warrior-level weapon. This was the highest level sword-type weapon that Yizichin had obtained since he went to the second universe. For some reason, he just felt like Yi was suited to use a sword. Perhaps it was because he himself used a sword, so he hoped that his son would use a sword as well. Yi reached out his hand and caught the sword. When the sword landed in his hand, it turned into a size similar to his height. From now on, when Daddy isn't home, you'll be the only man in the family. You have to use this sword to protect moms and sisters, okay? Uh-huh. Yi nodded. His small eyes were filled with determination. Chapter 2478. The entire living room was filled with the laughter of the little fellows. As the little fellows ran around the room, Yizichin looked at them with a smile filled with love. From that moment onwards, his identity changed. Or rather, he gained another identity. Dad. That word represented responsibility. It was heavy. Hey. At that moment, the great sage walked over and winked at Yizichin. What are you feeling? Monkey, if you really want to know, then can't you go and have a child with your family? Yang Jian twitched his mouth. TSK, isn't it just a son? What are you pretending for? The great sage rolled his eyes at Yang Jian. Yang Jian didn't get angry. I have one, you don't. Yeezy has one, you don't either. Tell me, aren't you angry? Yang Jian, you have a son as well? Yizichin was shocked. I do. Yang Jian nodded with a smile. Yang Jian nodded with a smile. 1 year later than your children. Actually, I saw how cute your family's Yi is, so I wanted to get the third princess to have one as well. In the end, she gave birth to a boy, and he gets so angry that he beats the little guy up every day. I feel bad just looking at him. The great sage muttered. Stop bullshitting. My son is only King, half a year old. How could I bear to beat him up? Yang Jian said angrily, then changed the topic. Even if I beat him up, I'll have to wait until he's 2 or 3 years old. Ha ha. Then my nephew is too pitiful. Yi Zichen laughed. Yi Zichen also laughed, then took out a set of hollow or set armor. Just treat it as an uncle giving this to my nephew. He was getting closer. Only then did the great sage notice how good the hollow or set was. His eyes glowed as he watched Yang Jian put on the equipment himself. I'm giving to my nephew. Wear it my ass. Yang Jian laughed. I'll enjoy such a good thing for him first. Then I'll give it to him when he's older. Ha ha. This armor is so much better than mine before. Is there a need for you to be so useless? Easy, I want one too. The great sage frowned bitterly. His eyes filled with anticipation. Why don't you prepare a set for my son first? I'll give it to him later. Say, you too, that's enough. They were 2 cosmic system states. Monkey, Yang Jian, you 2 are cosmic system states now? Yi Zichen opened his eyes wide in shock. Ha ha, are you afraid now? Yang Jian and the great sage suddenly burst into laughter. In the past 2 years, our strength has improved by leaps and bounds. The main reason is that the teachers you found are not bad. Even though there were many parts that weren't very clear, once the 2 of us came back and studied it, we understood everything. They broke through to the cosmic system state. Yi Zichen was truly shocked. It had to be said that even the humans in the universe could go to a proper university without special training. Breaking through to the nebulous system. A few decades was considered relatively fast. It seemed that Yang Jian and the great sage lived up to their reputation as the 2 war gods of the heavenly court. Their comprehension ability and talent were both astonishing. Let me tell you, it's not just the 2 of us. There are a few other cosmic system states in the Milky Way. I'll let you guess who they are. The ones in this room don't count. The great sage glanced to the kitchen. Yi Zichen subconsciously glanced in that direction. Only then did he notice the Shui sisters, Yume, Mo, Su Yin, Kiki, and Yi Rong. They were all cosmic system states. Li Jiai and Lu Jing were also peak star level. Is there a need to be so exaggerated? Yi Zichen had asked the Spirit Phoenix Supremacy to help select a few slaves to be teachers in order to help the great sage and the others take fewer detours. But he never would have guessed the results would be so obvious. Who else? Big Sister Lu? Or must be in a nebulous system state, right? Isn't that obvious? The great sage twitched his mouth. She's almost at the universe level. Say, my sister-in-law is truly talented. She's even more hardworking than me and Yang Jian. Yin Shang and Go Yuzhan are about the same. That's right. What about the others? Great Emperor Bian. Not bad, Yeezy. The great sage patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. It seems like you understand our people's talents quite well. Yes, that's all you've said. Yang Jian smiled and nodded. Right now, our Milky Way galaxy can't really be considered a Milky Way galaxy. There are only 3 planets of life: God, immortal, and human. We have the ones you just mentioned at the cosmic system level, about 50 at the star level, and about 400 at the domain level. Not bad. Yi Zichen nodded slightly. This number had already far exceeded his expectations. It seemed like the Milky Way galaxy's future was rather optimistic. At the very least, the humans in the Milky Way galaxy were quite talented. What about the number of God and immortal levels? There's no need to mention that. Yang Jian shrugged. Don't even think about how much you're hoping for in the past 2 years. Roughly 300,000 people have ascended from Earth to the immortal planet. But there's one person worth paying attention to. Who? That's him. With that, Yang Jian waved his hand, and an image appeared in front of Yi Zichen. Within the image sat a cross-legged youth. The youth looked rather young, but what caught Yi Zichen's attention was the fact that Su Luer was nearby. It's been 2 years. This youth broke through directly from Earth to the God planet. He's currently in Bian's territory. 2 years. Yi Zichen exclaimed. Talent, right? Why did I see Big Sister Luer here just now? That youth seems to be my little brother. A hint of a smile flashed through the great sage's eyes. The long-armed ape monkey. He died in battle for Su Lu-er's sake. That's not right. The timing doesn't match. Yi Zichen frowned. In truth, I'm not sure what's going on either. The great sage laughed. But little sister Lu-er thinks he is, and I think he is too. Right, this person's surname is Yi too. He's from your family. His name is Yi, and that's pretty good. Yi Zichen knew very well that Su Lu-er had been brooding over the long-armed ape monkey's death, even if she didn't show it. However, when she saw Su Yin and Su Zhu reunite with Yi Zichen and Yin Shang, the loneliness in her eyes became increasingly obvious. Now, his soul had returned to that of youth. To big sister Lu-er, this was a form of redemption. That's right. From the looks of it, he seems to be ignoring big sister Lu-er. Yi Zichen grinned. The great sage nodded. That's right. Back then, he spent so much effort pursuing little sister Lu-er. Now, he's ignoring her. Last time I went to see him, he said he wanted to become someone like you, and that he didn't have time for romance. Ha. Big sister Lu-er, it didn't beat him up? No, but it seems like she wants to beat you up. You'd best pray for your own good. The great sage hid his intentions. Yi Zichen grinned awkwardly. What the hell does that have to do with me? But before long, he smiled and sighed. That was something to be happy about. Everyone is doing fine. Chapter 2479. The banquet ended. The entire banquet was filled with cheers and laughter. After that, the great sage and the others called over the great emperors of the god race. Yi Zichen took out the hollow armor he'd prepared for them, the weapons he'd obtained in the second universe. Big sister Lu-er came as well. After receiving the weapons and armor, she hurriedly left and returned to the youth's side. In the blink of an eye, 2 months passed. Happy times always seemed to pass by quickly. Surrounded by his treasures, Yi Zichen's smile never faltered. He personally taught Yi Er how to use the sword. When he saw the little fellow, who hadn't even been 2 years old, wielding a black longsword in his hands and dancing earnestly in the courtyard, Yi Zichen couldn't help but grin. Late at night, the little fellows were tired and clamored to find their mothers to rest. Yi Zichen stood silently in the courtyard. He looked up at the starry sky. How have you been feeling lately? The spirit phoenix walked over and stood beside Yi Zichen. She also looked up at the starry sky. The nights here are pretty beautiful. That's right. Yi Zichen smiled and looked up at the countless stars. It's precisely because of this kind of beauty that I don't want those fellows from the universe to enslave this place and ruin its beauty. You still remember your responsibilities. Not bad. How could I forget? Yi Zichen sighed. I've always remembered it. How could I forget? The Milky Way galaxy had only just begun. Whether it was the strength of the experts or the overall strength of the human race on the other planets. Everything had only just begun. Everything was developing in a good direction, but at a time like this, he couldn't afford to relax. Everything before him. It was too beautiful. So beautiful that Yi Zichen felt like it wasn't real. He'd always worried that behind this beauty, there might be some sort of despairing danger. Before the galaxy was absolutely safe. All of this beauty was fake. No one could be sure that at dawn, all of this beauty would vanish into thin air. What followed would be irresistible despair. I haven't seen you around all this time. You're here all of a sudden. Shouldn't I go too? Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled. The spirit phoenix glanced at him and nodded. That's right. Actually, I don't want to ruin your family reunion, but we really should go. The hegemony tournament will officially begin soon. All right, I understand. Yi Zichen nodded. Wait until tomorrow. I'll say goodbye to them. The next day, the light of dawn fell upon every land of the divine race. The one who woke Yi Zichen up wasn't Su Yin, nor was it Xia Kiki. Instead, it was Yi Er, who was holding a black sword. Daddy, let's practice the sword. Yi Zichen picked him up with a smile and gently rubbed his head. I won't practice the sword today. Dad, there are some things I need to take care of. Howl! Yi Er nodded obediently. He grabbed the long sword and ran to the yard, waving it. She looked at his young and serious face. Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh and returned to the living room. You're leaving again? The great sage's eyes widened, while everyone else in the room frowned at Yi Zichen. Leaving again? He had only been back for a short while, and he was leaving again. I don't want to. Xia Kiki ran over and grabbed Yi Zichen's arm with a frown. I don't want Yi Ji to leave. You've only been back for a bit more than 2 months. Why are you leaving again? Isn't it better to stay here a bit longer? What are you doing? You're a mom already. Yi Zichen patted Xia Kiki's head, then turned around to look at Su Yin and company. Although they didn't directly rush up like Xia Kiki, the reluctance in their eyes could not be concealed. The time they'd spent together was truly too short. Ignoring everything else, Yi Zichen was about to leave again before the babies could truly get close to him. Actually, I don't want to leave either, but I have no other choice. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh. The great sage frowned. How is there no other choice? Yi Zi, we all understand why you're doing everything outside. We are also trying our best to help you. But is it really that short of time? At the very least, you have to enjoy a childhood with your children. The great sage's words instantly pierced through Yi Zichen's heart. He looked down at the babies hiding beside their mothers. The girls all had dejected looks on their faces, but they didn't dare to speak. After this parting, I really might not be able to accompany them as they grow up. I still have to leave. Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment, then let out a deep sigh and made up his mind. He couldn't do it for his own selfish desires. He had to ignore the entire Milky Way galaxy. Although he wouldn't be able to accompany his babies as they grew up, and he might not be a good father, he felt like this sacrifice was worth it for the future of the Milky Way galaxy. People always had to make choices. Perhaps some people felt that staying with the God race for 10-odd years wouldn't have too much of an impact. The situation in the universe was constantly changing. No one could guarantee what kind of people would invade the Milky Way galaxy in the future. Tianhai, he was a sovereign-level expert, yet his galaxy was still being invaded. His situation also served as a warning to Yi Zichen. He had to become stronger endlessly. To become stronger. To ensure the safety of the Milky Way galaxy. He wanted to make sure that the people around him could still smile as happily as they did before. Yi Zi, I've made up my mind. Great sage, Yang Jian, don't try to persuade me anymore. Yi Zichen acted very coldly. When he said this, everyone around him stopped trying to dissuade him. After them, nobody could change Yi Zichen's mind once he made up his mind. Why don't we go together? Right at this moment, the venerable spirit phoenix suddenly walked out. Sis, our spaceship has a lot of space. If we really can't bear to part ways, then we might as well leave together. Your friends and family members are pretty strong, so they can protect themselves in the universe. The spirit phoenix smiled. Then let's go together. They can come along, so you won't have to worry about their situation in the Milky Way galaxy. They can also watch your situation in the virtual network while you participate in the war of supremacy. All of a sudden, everyone's eyes lit up. Yi Zichen frowned. Then what about the Milky Way galaxy? Don't you have a lot of slaves? The spirit phoenix shrugged. If the invaders aren't strong, then your slaves will be enough to deal with them. If the invaders are very strong, then there's no point for them to stay here. How about we all follow them? Chapter 2480. Wow, a huge spaceship. Yi Zichen ran around the spaceship with the princesses, while the others also looked around in shock. Oh yeah, you all brought the anonymous virtual helmet, right? When we leave the Milky Way galaxy, you'll be able to enter the virtual network and truly come into contact with the universe. There are plenty of rooms in the spaceship. You guys can split them among yourselves. Yi Zichen didn't know whether they heard him or not. All he could see was that their eyes were filled with curiosity as they walked around the spaceship. Big sis. Yi Zichen pretty much explained everything he needed to. Yi Zichen walked over to the cockpit and looked at the spirit phoenix, who was resting with her eyes closed. Why did you suggest bringing them all out? Don't you want to? The spirit phoenix tilted her head and glanced at Yi Zichen. What's wrong with letting them out? That way, they can understand the universe better and understand what you're shouldering right now. You need to understand. That's not important. Yi Zichen didn't really care whether they understood or not. He also believed that they would definitely understand his actions, even if he didn't explain it. Then what do you think is important? The spirit phoenix looked at him in confusion. Your Milky Way galaxy will definitely enter the universe in the future. That is inevitable. Ignoring everything else, do you think the Milky Way galaxy can still hide after the universe fuses? Of course not. Yizichin naturally understood that very well. The fusion of a universe would be a huge reshuffle for the first universe. Any galaxy or universe country would experience a huge change. The dark spots in the Milky Way galaxy would naturally disappear. Yizichin also understood that, which was why he was in such a hurry to establish his own power in the second universe. Then what's wrong with letting them come into contact with the universe? Only by coming into contact with it in advance can they gain a better understanding. What do you think will happen if they just rely on their imagination? The spirit phoenix frowned. But if we pull them all out of the Milky Way galaxy, then who is going to notify us if something really happens? Yizichin frowned as well. Do you really care about the Milky Way galaxy? At that very moment, the spirit phoenix suddenly revealed a secretive smile and looked meaningfully into Yizichin's eyes. According to my observations during this period of time, the people you really care about are these people, right? As soon as the venerable spirit phoenix's voice fell, Yizichin was speechless for some reason. What she said was the truth. If compared to the entire Milky Way galaxy, perhaps the people on the spaceship were more important. You've always taken it upon yourself to protect the Milky Way galaxy. You forced this burden onto yourself. Venerable Spirit Phoenix shook her head. I'm tired because of you. Also, I don't think you're selfish at all. Humans are just like that. No one really has the righteousness to save the world. Humans were selfish to the core. It's some people like you who force themselves to do great things, which gives birth to those who seem to take the world as their own responsibility. At this moment, the spacecraft had already started moving. The venerable Spirit Phoenix chuckled as she projected a projection into the cabin of the flying ship, allowing the people inside to see the vastness outside. Yizichin also lowered his head silently. Not everyone here. What do you want to do? All of a sudden, the venerable Spirit Phoenix glared at him. You still want to bring out the people you want to protect? Does the Milky Way galaxy even have anything to do with you? With that, the venerable Spirit Phoenix smiled. You still have to leave some behind. Only if they stay behind can you continue to push yourself to protect the Milky Way. Didn't you just say that humans are selfish? Yizichin asked. I did. The venerable Spirit Phoenix did not deny it at all. Venerable Spirit Phoenix did not deny it at all. But this world also needs fools like you. Without you, this world would be finished. The venerable Spirit Phoenix rolled her eyes. You still have to protect the Milky Way galaxy. I naturally have my reasons for bringing these people out. At least most of the people you truly care about are here. After saying that, the venerable Spirit Phoenix stretched her waist lazily. Otherwise, what are you going to do with the humans in the Milky Way galaxy? Are you going to give them up? No matter what, you're someone who came from there. It's a bit unreasonable to give them up. Hell, women. Yizichin twitched his mouth. The venerable Spirit Phoenix talked about everything. In the end, even Yizichin felt a bit embarrassed. Clearly, at the very beginning, he was going to protect the entire Milky Way galaxy. In the end, it seemed like he was going to become a deserter. Also, why didn't you think about it? The venerable Spirit Phoenix squinted her eyes. There are so many life stars, resource stars, and stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Do you know how much of a treasure that is? Don't you want it? Aren't you afraid that these resources will become your enemy's weapons? Little fellow, the Milky Way galaxy is a huge treasure. Although it might be rather stressful to protect it, the benefits it can bring you are also delightful. I know. Yizichin rolled his eyes. Then you know why I brought them out? I know. Yizichin shrugged. It's to let them come out and learn about the universe so that I can focus on the competition without worry. Big sis, I really understand. Don't scold me anymore, I was wrong. If the venerable Spirit Phoenix continued, Yizichin suspected that he would be called a retard. It's good that you know. The venerable Spirit Phoenix squinted her eyes with a smile. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Let me know when we arrive at Blue River Planet. Go participate in your tournament, and I have to go prepare for my own matters. Big sis, I have something else. Say it. When is White Phoenix coming? Yi Zichen asked. Didn't you say that she ran into some trouble on her way here? It's already been so long. Why isn't she here yet? The venerable spirit Phoenix hesitated for a moment. She will come in the near future. What? Are you a bit unhappy that I'm following you? No, absolutely not. Yi Zichen shook his head. The venerable spirit Phoenix pushed open the door to the cockpit and waved towards him. I'm going to rest. With that, the venerable spirit Phoenix let out a deep sigh. This guy, he doesn't know why I brought these people here. But it's good that he doesn't know. It saves him the trouble of being distracted. The venerable spirit Phoenix glanced outside the ship, then pursed her lips meaningfully and left. White Phoenix, he's really concerned about you. Unfortunately, Big Sis can't let you out yet. You should understand Big Sis, right? Chapter 2481. Captain, we've already entered Thunder Universe country. We're in by AO Galaxy. Universe Exploration Team. Mingbu listened to the reports from the crew, his eyebrows furrowed. Thunder Universe country. By AO Galaxy. If he didn't remember wrongly, if they continued forward, they would reach the Milky Way galaxy. That was a human-restricted area. Songyu Galaxy had given a clear order in the universe. No human ships were allowed to enter the Milky Way galaxy. Unless it was an urgent situation, very few would travel through the Milky Way galaxy. We're heading according to the coordinates? Mingbu furrowed his eyebrows and took a deep breath. For some reason, he had a bad feeling in his heart, and it was very strong. Yes. The young man who was promoted to vice captain spoke. Kaluo, go confirm our coordinates. Where exactly is our destination? Mingbu spoke. Yes. Not even 2 minutes later, Kaluo hurriedly ran back, his eyes filled with an indescribable fear. Captain, it's the Milky Way, right? Seeing Kaluo's expression, Mingbu roughly knew their destination coordinates. Yes. Kaluo nodded heavily. Damn it. Mingbu waved his fist. Why would the coordinates be at that location? Songyu Galaxy's order was so strict. What if we were to head there and be treated as space pirates? Can we say we're going to scavenge for trash? Kaluo suggested. If we could really scavenge for trash, do you think it would be our turn? Mingbu sighed. All the resources of the Milky Way galaxy. On the surface, it seems like the Songyu Galaxy is protecting it for you, but it's actually all in their pockets. This isn't important. The important thing is that place has already been destroyed. Where would they get the galaxy? Fake intelligence. Kaluo frowned. Doesn't seem like it. Mingbu hesitated before shaking his head. If it's fake intelligence, no one would be able to make that projection look so real. Furthermore, if it's fake intelligence, why would it land in our hands? Then, could it be a spatial dark spot? The moment Kaluo's words landed, Mingbu looked in shock at the youth before him. Go check the projection we got. Maybe it's true. Before Mingbu could finish, his AI suddenly alerted him that someone had sent him an invitation in the virtual network. His consciousness sank into the virtual network. Tulip family. Kaluo, the Tulip family is looking for me. I'll deal with them. You continue testing the projection. Yes. As soon as he finished speaking, Mingbu's consciousness entered the virtual network. When he reappeared, he was in a luxurious manner. This was the headquarters of the Tulip family. Although he was an outer member, he could still have a house in the virtual network. Sir Mingbu, the elder invites you over. When he walked out of the room, there were already people waiting respectfully outside. Ha! Your Excellency Mingbu, this form of address is really unfamiliar. Mingbu couldn't help but sneer. These people working in the virtual network were all dogs that relied on their master's power, because they were close to the elders. Seeing how the outer circle members were acting all high and mighty, not putting anyone in their eyes at all. This was also the reason why he was too lazy to come to the virtual world. These people, not only could he not deal with them in the virtual network, he would even be disgusted by them. At this moment, this dog servant suddenly called him sir. From then on, he could feel the elder's attitude towards him. This made him a little curious. Why would the elder suddenly look for him? He didn't think that Yu would tell the elder about his report. Sir Mingbu, what are you talking about? The elder is already waiting in the front hall. Let's go. Lead the way. About 10 minutes later, Mingbu arrived at the front hall of the Tulip family headquarters. When he arrived, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. In this front hall, there were actually 3 elders and 10 members of the direct line of descent from the inner circle. Mingbu is here. The moment he saw Mingbu, an elder in the hall came to welcome him. Third elder. He nodded lightly at the elder. Mingbu looked around the hall. Among the inner circle members of the elder's direct line of descent, Yu was actually among them. At this moment, he didn't look particularly good, but he didn't dare to speak carelessly. TSK, TSK, TSK. I'm really overwhelmed by the favor. To think that the 3 elders and so many direct descendants would come to personally receive me. Touched. So touched. Mingbu's tone was full of playfulness. Mingbu, don't be too proud. This is the headquarters. Standing in front of you are 3 elders. You'd better show some respect. You couldn't stand Mingbu's proud appearance and angrily rebuked him. You shut up. The 3rd elder frowned. Mingbu didn't even bother to look at Yu. Judging from the attitude in front of him, he already knew what kind of attitude he had to maintain. May I know why the elder asked me to come? Some time ago, you had the highest level of information you wanted to tell the family. The 3rd elder said pleasantly, I heard it's information about a native star system. Yes. Can you tell me now? No. Mingbu shrugged and shook his head. You said that I need to investigate the specific strength of the natives before reporting to the family. Moreover, a star system doesn't have much impact on the family. I'm also too lazy to report. Mingbu, I can understand your emotions. The 3rd elder still had a pleasant smile on his face. I will also punish Yu for his problem. That star system. Can you tell me the specific coordinates? I don't want to say. Mingbu shook his head. I've already prepared to explore that star system myself. Of course, I will follow the family's rules and pay 5% of my earnings to the family. Mingbu, you won't be able to explore that star system. Suddenly, the 3rd elder's gaze sunk. What I'm saying now is for your own good. You better give the coordinates to the family and let the family send elites to investigate. The family is willing to give you a high-level guest position. How about it? High-level guest. Mingbu froze when he heard that. Such a position in the family was second only to the elders. No, I've already decided. Mingbu, don't be so ungrateful. Yu stared and said, giving you a high-level guest, you're just a universe-level small fry. Giving you such a position, you should be happy. And you're still so smug. Who do you think you are? You want to explore the Milky Way galaxy left behind by the Milky Way Master? Are you worthy? What did you just say? Milky Way galaxy? Mingbu frowned. Yes, the star system you're going to is the Milky Way galaxy. You better understand. Thank you for the information. Chapter 2482. The Milky Way. This was the galaxy left behind by the Milky Way Master. Mingbu's hands trembled violently as he logged out of the virtual network. The Milky Way Master. Once the pinnacle of the human race. The galaxy he left behind. Soon, Mingbu's eyes darkened again. He frowned, and the excitement in his heart faded. He was a rational person. Everyone knew that the treasures left behind by the Milky Way Master were absolutely amazing. But did the Milky Way Master not leave behind some defensive measures when he left behind his treasures? Even if it was set up casually by the Milky Way Master, even if it was a master of a nation, he would not be able to return. Not to mention their small adventure team. Captain, I found it. There is indeed a dark spot in space. Deputy Captain Crow saw that Mingbu had logged out of the virtual network and hurried over to report. He checked the entire projection according to Mingbu's instructions and found that there was indeed a dark spot in the projection. Captain, seeing that Mingbu did not speak for a long time, Crow carefully coughed again. Okay, I got it. Mingbu nodded. Faced with this absent-minded response, Crow frowned. Captain, did the Tulip family say anything to you? We don't have to care about them at all. They can say whatever they want to say. Let's just be our resource merchants. Crow comforted. Mingbu shook his head gently. It's not as simple as you think. Go do what you need to do. I need some time to think about it. Yes. Crow retreated from a lounge. Mingbu was still thinking about the Milky Way. The only thing he was concerned about was whether the Milky Way master had left a defense system inside the Milky Way. Inexplicably, he looked outside again. If there was a defense system, how did the universe wanderer obtain the detailed projection of the Milky Way? There was another important point. He would consider the problem of the defense system. The managers of the Tulip family must have considered it. If there was a defense system, even if the Tulip family went all out, it would be useless. They dared to go. This proved that the Milky Way was safe in real time. Mingbu, the Tulip family has sent you an invitation. The voice of Mingbu's AI sounded in his mind. Rejected. At this time, in the Tulip family in the virtual network, he actually dared to reject our invitation. Heiyu's face was ashen. Looking at the rejection page, his entire face was a little hideous. Who does he think he is? A universe-level outer circle member actually dares to ignore our invitation. He has the capital now. The third elder in the hall heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the rejected page. The Milky Way. Our Tulip family does not need to obtain all of the wealth contained within. Even a small portion would be a qualitative leap for our Tulip family. If the Milky Way galaxy's coordinates are in Mingbu's hands, if we want to get, we have to beg him. Milky Way. The destruction of such a huge galaxy was very sudden, but it was also very strange. At that time, almost everyone suspected that the master of the galaxy would leave a backup plan. With the power of the Supreme, it was impossible for him to let his galaxy disappear just like that. It was the countless years that followed. No one had found any sign of the Milky Way. Gradually, this thought disappeared. Who would have thought? At this moment, the Milky Way suddenly appeared again. A Milky Way, not to mention whether or not the master of the galaxy left any treasures there. Just the resources there were enough to tempt anyone. Third Grandpa, how did you know he had the Milky Way galaxy's coordinates? Heiyu frowned. He actually didn't know anything. Everything he heard from the third elder. Only then did he know that the galaxy Mingbu was talking about was the Milky Way. When he found out about this, he was shocked. However, he was more suspicious. Of course I know. The third elder didn't explain to Heiyu. He knew it was the Milky Way because someone found him, mentioned Mingbu, and obtained the Milky Way galaxy's coordinates. He heaved a long sigh. The third elder's gaze towards him wasn't very friendly either. If it wasn't for him, the Tulip family would have obtained the Milky Way galaxy's coordinates long ago. One had to know that at the beginning, Mingbu was prepared to tell this news to the family. If it was any other family member, they might have already been expelled by now. However, Heiyu was the next patriarch. Even though the third elder was angry, he could only let it go. Continue sending invitations to Mingbu. No matter how many times he is rejected, he must still be invited. Also, the invitation note states that as long as he is willing to reveal the Milky Way galaxy's coordinates, he will be an honorary elder of the Tulip family for life. Also, the family is willing to reward him with 20 billion universe dollars. Third Grandpa. Heiyu was stunned. Honorary elder. That was an existence second only to the patriarch. Even the elders were not as high as him. 20 billion universe dollars. This was a terrifying amount of wealth. Just do as I tell you to. I really have some doubts now. Why did your father choose you as the heir to the patriarch? Heiyu, don't say that I didn't warn you. If you don't do this well, I will propose to your father to reselect the patriarch's successor. In an instant, Heiyu's face suddenly turned ashen. He never thought that things would be so serious. I understand. Heiyu nodded heavily and sent an invitation to Mingbu. Mingbu, the Tulip family's invitation came again. This time, they added an additional message. If you are willing to reveal the Milky Way galaxy's coordinates to them, you will be an honorary elder of the family. They will also offer you 20 billion universe dollars as a reward. What? Hearing this news, Mingbu was completely shocked. Honorary elder. 20 billion universe dollars. The Tulip family had really gone all out. One must know that the Tulip family's annual net profit was only a few tens of millions of universe dollars. Help me calculate. How long will it take for the Tulip family's headquarters to reach here? 2 years and 6 months. The AI replied. I understand. Meanboo hesitated for a while before revealing a smile. Help me reply. Give me the title of Honorary Elder and 20 billion universe dollars now. I can share the Milky Way galaxy's coordinates with them. 2.5 years was enough. During this period, he would be able to mine a large amount of resources. By the time the Tulip family arrived, he would have already made a fortune. Share. No problem. Chapter 2483. Blue River Planet. The first thing Yizichin did was lead them to the castle. Fortunately, Beit-In had bought a large castle. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for so many people to live in it. Mr. Yi. They hadn't seen each other in years. When they saw Yizichin suddenly return, everyone rushed out of the castle, their eyes shining with joy. Mr. Yi, you're back. Beit-In also walked up with a smile. As soon as she appeared, Xia Qi and Lu Jing immediately frowned. What a beautiful woman. Su Yan sighed. Let me introduce, this is Beit-In. He smiled at everyone and said, I'm working here now. I'm from Planet Shell. If there's anything you don't understand, just ask her. With that, Yizichin looked back. Beit-In, these are my family. Please take care of them in the future. This is what I should do. Beit-In smiled warmly. Yizichin also stretched his neck and looked at Su Yan and company. Then you guys settle down here. I'll be leaving with Big Sisling Fang. Be careful on the road. Don't worry. Yizichin waved towards everyone with a smile, then left the castle with Venerable Spirit Phoenix. There's still time. Of course. Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged. I've already calculated the time. I'll definitely make it in time. About half an hour later, Venerable Spirit Phoenix and Yizichin arrived at the Star-Lord's office. When they arrived, the Master of the Stars seemed to be in the middle of some business. When he saw that the newcomers were the Spirit Phoenix and Yizichin, he hurriedly put down his work. Senior, you're finally back. It seems like you're quite anxious. Supremacy Spirit Phoenix laughed. Isn't there still time for the hegemony struggle? Senior, the contest has been brought forward. The Star-Lord let out a long sigh. If it wasn't for the fact that the contest was brought forward, he wouldn't be in such a hurry. During this period of time, he had been thinking about it day and night. He just wanted to see Venerable Spirit Phoenix and Yizichin as soon as possible. After all, Yizichin was the one who recommended Yizichin. If Yizichin didn't participate in the supremacy struggle, then it meant that Blue River Planet had forfeited. This kind of loss was not something a Star-Lord like him could bear. In advance, Venerable Spirit Phoenix frowned. The battle between the geniuses. It was held once every 1,000 years, and every time, the time was fixed. There had been countless battles, but the time had never changed. This time, it was suddenly brought forward. What's going on? I don't know either. The Star-Lord spread his hands. This is simply a change in time. The method of advancement is also different from before. I believe Senior knows that the first round of eliminations was carried out in the virtual network, right? Yes. The Genius competition required several rounds of elimination, and the first 3 rounds were all carried out in the virtual network. It's different this time. Planet Lord heaved a sigh of relief. Sensing Venerable Spirit Phoenix's gaze, he hurriedly spoke. This time, we'll do it in reality. For the human clan in this area, the test will be held on a Life Star in by now galaxy. This time, to provide more places for the geniuses to compete in the assessment, many Life Stars have been cleared out. They have turned the Life Stars into the assessment area. It actually turned out like this. Venerable Spirit Phoenix frowned. Even though the Star-Lord did not explain it clearly, Venerable Spirit Phoenix could roughly guess the content of the test. A battle for survival. This kind of assessment was usually held in the 6th round. Unexpectedly, it was brought forward to the 1st round. Let's go. Venerable Spirit Phoenix did not linger. She understood clearly that if they missed the time, they would lose the qualification to challenge this time. The Star-Lord had prepared the flying ship almost immediately. 10 days later, the first elimination round of the Genius competition was held in by now Galaxy's Life Star by Ming Planet. This Life Star was special. It was daytime almost 24 hours a day. The reason for this was that this life star had 3 solar systems around it. In other words, it had 4 suns around it. No matter how the life star rotated, the entire planet would be in daytime. Also, due to its special location, it was affected by the star's magnetic field, so its area was much smaller than other life stars. The entire life star had a population of 1.5 billion. This time, the white nether star was chosen as the territory for the competition. The residents of this planet were also expelled to other life stars. At this time, besides the participants of the competition, there were no other humans here. Yi Zichen, Venerable Spirit Phoenix, and the Lord of Blue River. When the 3 of them arrived, the place was already filled with people. There really are a lot of people here. Yi Zichen couldn't help but mutter as he looked at the crowd. That's for sure. The genius competition is only held once every 1,000 years. Anyone below the warlord level and who meets the requirements wants to come here and try. These are the participants from the by now galaxy, and they've already been filtered out. Venerable Spirit Phoenix explained. Yeah, this is a grand event. The Blue River Star-Lord smiled. Blue River Star-Lord also had a smile in his eyes. When he finally arrived at White Ming Star and saw the competitors outside, his heart finally relaxed. He had been nervous the entire time. He was afraid that the elimination round would have already begun by the time they arrived. So it's their strength. Yi Zichen looked around. If he wasn't wrong, even though there were a lot of people here, the number of experts was pitifully low. Not to mention the Universe 9 stage. Even the Universe level was extremely rare. What else do you want? Venerable Spirit Phoenix twitched her mouth. Do you think it's that easy to reach the Universe level? Even after 1,000 years, there are very few who can reach the Universe level. People like you are rather rare in the entire universe. Also, don't underestimate the genius competition. You're merely facing the participants from the by now galaxy. The true experts haven't appeared yet. I know, but I feel like this round of elimination should be rather easy, right? Yi Zichen smiled. With his current strength, if he used all of his trump cards, he would be able to reach the standard of a marquis. Of course, that was only a rough estimate. No matter what, he hadn't truly fought against a marquis yet. But that was only after condensing his divinity and releasing his elemental spirits. If he used all of his trump cards, if he used his own strength and genetic power, it shouldn't be a problem for him to deal with a general or a commander. That's not a problem. Venerable Spirit Phoenix nodded with a smile. The way she saw it, the first round of elimination didn't pose any challenge to Yi Zichen at all. Chapter 2484. Senior. These are the criteria for advancement. Blue River Star-Lord brought over a flyer. This was the method of the competition, as well as the criteria for advancement. If it was in the past, this sort of thing should be done by the competitors themselves. Unfortunately, the situation here was different. One was a sovereign. The other was the sovereign's precious little brother. This sort of errands had to be done by the Star-Lord. Let me see. The Spirit Phoenix sovereign took the flyer. About half a minute later, she put the flyer away with a smile on her face. I really don't know what went wrong with the octagon table. They actually agreed to this method. What happened? Yi Zichen frowned. Blue River Star-Lord's eyes were also filled with confusion. He didn't even look at it. The moment he got it back, he gave it to the Spirit Phoenix Sovereign. Yi Zichen watched as the flyer was destroyed. He could only silently run out to get another leaflet and come back. This is too crazy. Yi Zichen frowned and took the flyer under the Blue River Star-Lord's shocked gaze. Advancement will be based on points. Above 1,000 points is enough. Points are obtained by hunting down ferocious beasts or eliminating others. By eliminating ferocious beasts, star level gets 1 point, star system level gets 10 points, and universe level gets 100 points. You will get 1 point for every person you eliminate, as well as half of the points the eliminated person already has. Actually, there wasn't anything special about this. It was just that at the end, there are no restrictions, regardless of life or death. Big Sis, can you explain to me what this regardless of life or death is for? Yi Zichen frowned. Don't tell me that there's a chance of dying in the elimination round. That should be the case. The Spirit Phoenix Sovereign nodded. Is there a need to make it so bloody? Yi Zichen glared at the people in front of him. We're all humans. Don't the higher-ups forbid humans from killing each other? That's why I'm curious about how the octagon table is discussed. The spirit phoenix sovereign shrugged. The venerable spirit phoenix shrugged as well. This kind of competition without any restrictions unlocks all of humanity's instincts that have been sealed away. The consequences of this are very serious. I wonder what kind of a battlefield it will be inside. Senior is right. Blue River's Star-Lord also heavily nodded, expressing his approval of her words. There are many medical and rescue personnel around, but if it really comes to a critical juncture, these rescuers might not be able to arrive in time. But Mr. Yi can rest assured. A smile appeared on Blue River's Star-Lord's face. Yes, you can rest assured. The venerable spirit phoenix also nodded. No matter how vile this challenge was, it posed no threat to Yi Zichen, a ninth-layer universe-level cultivator. As the saying goes, in the face of absolute power, everything else is meaningless. Just focus on your elimination matches. Don't think about anything else. Venerable Spirit Phoenix said. When will it start? Yi Zichen asked. Not sure. Blue River's Star-Lord shook his head. Logically speaking, the competition will start 3 days after the assembly starts. It's already been half a month. Look, there are already quite a few impatient people waiting here, but the organizers don't seem to be showing any signs of starting yet. They are waiting. Suddenly, the Spirit Phoenix's eyes narrowed as she spoke. Before he could finish his sentence, 2 more spaceships landed on the sky above the planet. There's actually someone who came later than us. Blue River's Star-Lord chuckled. They really aren't afraid of time running out. What are they afraid of? Suddenly, the venerable Spirit Phoenix spoke with a smile. Maybe the reason why they haven't started yet is because they're waiting for someone to come. I guess it's them. The hatch began to open. A man and a woman walked down from the 2 ships at the same time. The strange thing was that the woman wore a veil on her face and was dressed in white from head to toe. The man's face was covered with a black cloth. He was also dressed in black. The strange thing was that the 2 of them didn't seem to know each other. When they came down, they could clearly sense a trace of surprise in the eyes of the woman in white. However, the man in black remained expressionless. Yi Zichen observed them for a moment, then suddenly squinted his eyes. An expert. This is going to be interesting. The Spirit Phoenix also raised her eyebrows. Such a small by now galaxy actually has 6 universe level 9 people. The 6 people mentioned by Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Yi Zichen was one of them. It was the same for the black and white duo. There were also 3 universe level 9 experts in the crowd already waiting for them. In the past competitions, it was already very good for a single universe level 9 expert to come out from one of the zones. Some zones didn't even have any. This time, there were 6 from a by now galaxy. This is a bit strange. The Spirit Phoenix squinted her eyes. Then her voice suddenly sounded out in Yi Zichen's mind. Yi Zichen was momentarily stunned. Then he looked at the calm Spirit Phoenix, then sent a voice transmission using the power of the universe. Do you think someone is purposely planning this? What else? The Spirit Phoenix replied. The by now galaxy isn't a large galaxy, and there aren't any big families. You're hoping for a grassroots genius to appear? Do you think that's possible for 6 of them to suddenly appear? Are they coming for me? Yi Zichen frowned. I can't be sure. The Spirit Phoenix squinted her eyes. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix narrowed her eyes. I can't tell which one of them has a stronger goal, but you'd better be careful. There's something strange about this elimination round, from the system to the contestants. Understood. Yi Zichen nodded. At that moment, the Spirit Phoenix suddenly walked in front of Yi Zichen, then tossed a warm jade into his collar, as if she was arranging his clothes for him. Yi Zichen subconsciously raised his eyebrows. The Spirit Phoenix's voice sounded out in his mind. This is my soul slip. I can't stay to watch you fight in the elimination round. I need to go and deal with my own matters. If you get into danger during the elimination round, crush it. Come and save me. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Dream on. I won't even know which universe country I'm going to by the time you fight. How could I possibly come and save you? Venerable Spirit Phoenix rolled her eyes. Crush your soul slip, and I'll be able to receive information about your surroundings. When I return, I'll avenge you and let you die in peace. Sorry for the interruption. Yi Zichen cupped his fists and retreated. The competition hasn't even started, but he's already thinking about how to take revenge. Does the Spirit Phoenix have no confidence in me? Live on. I don't want my only ally to die just like that. We still have to do great things in the future. The Spirit Phoenix patted Yi Zichen's shoulders. At that moment, participants, come here to get your identity medallion. Chapter 2485. Quite a few people rush forward. Go. The Spirit Phoenix patted Yi Zichen's shoulder with a rare gentleness in her eyes. We're leaving too. Yi Zichen pursed his lips as he watched the Spirit Phoenix and Blue River Star Lord leave. About an hour later, Yi Zichen, here's your identity card. The staff threw a crystal card towards Yi Zichen, which recorded all of his information. Why'd you shout my name so loudly? Yi Zichen, who received the identity card, frowned. Hearing that, the staff was momentarily stunned. How I speak is my own problem. What does that have to do with you? Don't purposely cause trouble here. There are plenty of people like you who want to get attention every year. I don't have time for you. If you really want to get noticed, then fight for it with your own abilities. The staff member who spoke was a bearded man. Universe level 3. With Yi Zichen's strength, it was as easy as flipping his hand to kill him. However, after a brief moment of hesitation, he slowly walked out of the crowd with the identity card in hand, then couldn't help but smack his arm. Just what was I doing just now? Yi Zichen intentionally listened for a while. The bearded staff member would call out the name of anyone who applied for an identity card with him. Perhaps it was because his personality and appearance were rather rough. His voice was indeed much louder than the others. Yi Zichen, wake up. I feel like I'm still too tense. Ever since the Venerable Spirit Phoenix had pointed out that this elimination round was a little strange, he had been in a highly tense state. No matter what, this was the first time he faced the malice of the first universe directly. Hey, friend. At that moment, a young man walked over from afar. Yi Zichen subconsciously frowned. The young man was momentarily stunned when he felt Yi Zichen's hostility and caution. Friend, aren't you a bit too nervous? We haven't started the elimination round yet. Are you getting into the zone ahead of time? What's up? Yi Zichen's tone was rather cold. Right now, he was absolutely suspicious of everyone here. Yi Zichen's cold tone caused the young man to pause. I came to invite you to join our team. The young man pointed towards a group of 7 or 8 young men and women. As he spoke, the young man pointed to a spot not far away where 7 to 8 young men and women were standing. There are no restrictions on the elimination this time, which means that our team has been recognized. Not interested. Yi Zichen rejected immediately. AI friend, the young man did not give up. I know you're pretty strong. There aren't many people in the elimination round this time. But no matter how strong you are, you can't handle so many people. Look, everyone here is forming their own cliques. Once they enter the competition grounds, it is inevitable that there will be clashes between groups. But before that, the groups will definitely get rid of the loners first. Look at our team. Our strength isn't bad either. We have 4 universe levels, and the others are all star level 9. Yi Zichen pushed the youth away, then left without looking back. Ha ha ha, you failed. Well, why don't we invite that beauty? During this time, Yi Zichen paid close attention to the youth. He only looked away when the youth went to invite the white-robed woman. Perhaps he really just wanted to invite her. Sister Feng, tell me, are you trying to scare me on purpose? You still want to play a trick on me before you leave? She touched the soul slip that the Venerable Spirit Phoenix had given her. Yi Zichen let out a long breath. It was definitely impossible to team up with strangers, so Yi Zichen turned on the virtual network. Bar! Holy shit! Yezi! From Bar's exclamation mark, one could tell how surprised he was. You're back. I just got back. Which division are you in? I'm on the Sifting Orchid Star. Beiyu is also here. There are several of our acquaintances here. Where are you? I'm at Bai Ming. Why did you go there? Bar froze for a moment. The people of Blue River Star should be here with us. I'm late. Yi Zichen let out a helpless sigh. I was forced to be thrown here. There's no one I know here. F***CK. And here I was thinking of sucking up to you. Bar cursed. All right. I saved a spot for you for nothing. We have to go find someone to suck up to. Bye. Hey, what a good friend. Yizichin couldn't help but let out a long sigh as he looked at Bar's chat. Gather. At that moment, it was still the bearded man. Remember, crush your identity cards if you are in any danger. Our rescuers here will help you. Of course, your matches will end here. Now, everyone, close your eyes. You will be teleported to any location in the competition area. F***CK. The young man who invited Yizichin earlier waved his fist. If that's the case, all of the groups they formed earlier would be white groups. Although the competition doesn't have any restrictions, I hate gangsters the most. How is it? Are you very angry? The bearded man grinned. But even if you're angry, you can't hit me. If you touch a single finger of mine, then you'll be eliminated because I'm the referee. Hee hee hee. Are you even angrier now? There's something wrong with this person's brain, right? Bailey muttered. I think so too. Yizichin nodded. Oh yeah. Did you analyze the planet's interior in detail? It's all done, Bailey smiled. Bailey smiled and said, I'll transfer the detailed map to your brain now. Not long later, an image appeared in Yizichin's mind. It clearly recorded all of the geographical divisions of planet Whitemark. What's the red on it? The active area of ferocious beasts, Bailey chuckled. Bailey chuckled. I just hacked the network of the organizer of the knockout competition. Actually, I stole this picture from him. You're really something. Yizichin smiled. If any of you don't agree, Lousy told you to punch me to vent your anger. Of course, just one punch. I'm going to get angry if you punch me more than that. The bearded man reached out his finger. And the most important thing, suddenly, the bearded man took out a flame-like dagger. Flame saw, a king-ranked weapon. This is your reward for eliminating first place. Chapter 2486. Damn it. Why did Big Beard say something so annoying? It was all because of this weapon. King-ranked. That was a king-ranked weapon. How could such a weapon be given out in such a small elimination round? How could he maintain his composure? Everyone who had come to participate in the elimination round was stunned. King-ranked. How is that possible? Mr. Referee, you weren't wrong, right? The reward for first place is a king-ranked dagger. Someone in the crowd asked in a trembling voice. Are you doubting my memory? Big Beard looked like he wanted to eat someone up. King-ranked really is king-ranked. You guys are so lucky to get a weapon of this level in the first elimination round. Whoosh. The crowd was instantly in an uproar. A king-ranked weapon. Weapons of this level were sometimes impossible to buy. Its value couldn't even be measured with money. Yizichin raised his eyebrows. He hadn't expected the tournament's benefits to be so good. They actually gave out such a weapon as a reward. It was just a pity. Yizichin used a sword. He didn't like short weapons like daggers. Of all the people he knew, Baifeng was the only one who liked to use daggers, but she wielded primordial divine artifacts. She probably didn't care for a king-ranked weapon. I'll just sell it. Yizichin rubbed his chin. The way he saw it, the dagger was already his. At this moment, Big Beardy suddenly covered his ears, but soon he grinned again. Sorry, everyone. There was a small problem just now. This weapon isn't the reward for first place. It's the reward for first place. The crowd's expressions didn't change at all. The one who survived to the end would definitely be first, and the one who was first would definitely be the one who survived to the end. There was no difference between the two. All right, I hereby announce the start of the first elimination round of the Tournament of Geniuses. Good luck. I hope all of you can come out alive. Now, according to the ranking, start the random teleportation. When I call out your name, Yizichin never would have guessed that he would be the first name Big Beard called out. Under the gaze of countless people, Yizichin silently walked forward. All right, start the teleportation. He's the only one teleporting? Someone in the crowd shouted. Then how many points does he have to get before us? It's not fair at all. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Big Beardy pointed at the man shouting in the crowd. If you think it's unfair, then scram. With your 6-stage star cultivation, you'll only get the lowest allowance in the cannon fodder territory. If I let you go first, do you think you can win? You want to talk about fairness with me? There are many unfair things in the universe. Let me tell you, if I say it's fair, then it's fair. If it's not fair, then it's not fair. If you don't agree, then leave. Don't yell at me. Big Beard's words silenced the entire contestants. Looking at the contestants who no longer dared to argue, Big Beardy curled his lips. Transfer. Instantly, the space around Yi Zichen flickered, and in less than half a second, he disappeared from everyone's line of sight. Not long after he disappeared, Whisper, Big Beardy called out another name. Soon after, the white-clothed woman also walked up to him. Transfer. Next, Karama. What kind of stupid name is that? When you go back, tell your family to change it. Big Beardy retorted. At the same time, a masked man in black at the back of the crowd nodded towards the others, then walked towards the transfer area. Don't say that other people's names are bad if you don't know anything. Karama means death god. If you have time, read more books. Don't take your ignorance for granted. Hey, you brat. Big Beardy pointed at the man in black. Fine. Lousy will remember you. Lousy will watch how you die in there. Heh. Karama laughed in disdain, then ignored the beardy man. F***CK, transfer. At the same time, in Blue River Castle. Mom, it's Dad. He pointed at the virtual network projection in front of him. At that moment, the living room of the castle was already filled with people. Su Yin and company sat on the sofa. The great sage and Yang Jian just sat on the floor and stared straight ahead. It was a live broadcast. Baiyin had helped them find out about the live broadcast. Su Yin and company had just entered the universe, so they weren't very clear about the operation of many of the equipment in the universe. The Genius Tournament was a grand event in the human universe. Before the elimination round began, the virtual network had already started broadcasting. Su Yin and company locked onto Yi Zichen's competition area. He found Yi Zichen and locked on him. After locking onto the screen, Baiyin hurried up to the second floor to check on Beiyu's condition. Yi Zi should be fine, Yang Jian muttered. Isn't that obvious? The great sage pursed his lips. Didn't you see that the teleportation just now was based on strength? Isn't the fact that Yi was the first to be teleported enough to prove something? With Ye's strength, beating up a bunch of salted fish would be a piece of cake. Let's not talk about anything else. Both of us would be able to get into the top 500. That's right. Yang Jian nodded heavily. But he will also become the target of public criticism. Li Jiai frowned and pursed her lips as she hugged her daughter. Everyone knows that he's the first to come in, and everyone naturally thinks that he has the most points. So there will definitely be many people looking for trouble with him. What are you afraid of? Do you think EZ would be afraid of those salted fish? But he can't replenish his energy. Li Jiai pointed at the top of the virtual network. Look, didn't it say that this area is a sealed area, so there's no way to absorb cosmic power to replenish it? Even if he uses up 1/10,000th of his cosmic power against those opponents, it's still pure exhaustion that can't be replenished. His cosmic power definitely won't be able to hold up if he continuously uses up his energy. F***CK, how can it be like this? The great sage glared angrily. I feel like Yi Zi should find a place to hide and come out later on. Li Jiai said, but it's all sand around us. There's no cover at all. Lu Jing said, yeah. Li Jiai also nodded dejectedly. Zichenji, Xiaokiki bit her lips and clenched her fists. None of them hoped for Yi Zichen to get any sort of results. They merely hoped that Yi Zichen could come back alive. Zichen, Su Yin also clenched her fists silently and prayed in her heart. For some reason, her heart raced, and she had a bad feeling about it. Chapter 2487. That Mumai, he still has such a bad taste. In a spacious hall, a middle-aged man dressed in a silver robe shook his head with a smile as he looked at the image projected on the screen. He's always like this. At this moment, there was a skinny expert from the monkey race in the hall. He sat on the sofa with his back hunched and was also staring at the projection. He's a marquis, but he has to pretend to be a Universe Level 3. As for Mumai, he was the examiner of Yi Zichen's examination area. Mumai, he belonged to the Virtual World Corporation. Marquis, actually, this wasn't anything to be surprised about. As an examiner, A universe level 3 wasn't very realistic. If he wasn't strong enough, he wouldn't have been able to become an examiner. It should be noted that there were many titled battle pet warriors around the test area, even among the rescue workers. There were many warlords and commanders. If they were to be supervised by a universe level 3, they would be proud. Experts and sovereigns were all experts. If Mumai wasn't strong enough, they would be the first to object. It's just that this time, the rewards for the elimination round are a bit too ridiculous. The silver-robed, middle-aged man frowned. A king-ranked weapon. In the past, weapons of this level could only be obtained in the final round, where the top 10 contenders would compete for the top 10 out of 10,000. This time, it was taken out in the first round. It was indeed a bit shocking. How can we understand the intentions of the higher-ups? The monkey expert acted very calmly. He didn't exclaim or sigh. It was as if he didn't have any emotions at all. "You're really boring." The silver-robed, middle-aged man shook his head. "I can't think of anything else right now," the monkey expert said calmly. The expert from the monkey race said calmly, "For this contest, our group will send out the two of us. This is a responsibility and also a signal." "What signal?" "This time's tournament is definitely different from the past." The monkey expert frowned. The expert from the monkey race frowned. "Have you ever seen our organization sending 2 overlords to watch over a tournament, combined with the series of actions of the leader during this period of time?" "You're right." The silver-robed, middle-aged man nodded with a smile. "Let's not talk about that. If there really is a problem, the 2 of us can still handle it. Actually, I think it's time for the 2 of us to do something. Otherwise, if we stay in the company for the rest of our lives, our bones will rust." "Then why don't you just go to the outer realm?" "Bickering, right?" The silver-robed man pretended to be angry. "I really shouldn't have cooperated with you. It's too infuriating. Come to think of it, there are a few good seedlings in this assessment. There are a few. Who do you think will win?" The silver-robed, middle-aged man tilted his head. The eyes of the skinny monkey expert sank slightly. "Are you referring to the entire assessment area, or just this one?" "Here it is." The silver-robed, middle-aged man laughed. "Language." Almost without any hesitation, the skinny monkey expert gave his answer. "There is no doubt about it. You and I both know very well where this language came from. You're really direct." The silver-robed man shrugged. "Don't you think Kurama will win? He was known as the Grim Reaper. If his subordinates didn't have some ability, they wouldn't dare to use such a name. And then there's the Yizichin. Did you forget who's backing him? Kurama, I don't really like him." "That's true. You don't like that kind of sinister fellow." The silver-robed man seemed to understand the monkey expert very well. "Then what did Yizichin say?" "His sudden appearance was too sudden. We can wait and see." "Just wait and see?" The silver-robed man seemed surprised by the monkey expert's attitude. "You're being too conservative. Given his strength, getting into the top 3 shouldn't be a problem at all." Planet Netherworld's assessment area. Although there were quite a few examinees, the sudden appearance of several Universe Stage 9 experts was a pleasant surprise. But in the silver-robed man's eyes, Yizichin was fairly strong. "Look at the way Mu Mai called for people. He also thinks highly of Yizichin." "So what?" said the monkey expert. "I'm just comparing him to the rest of the universe. His meager strength really isn't worth paying attention to. Also, first place doesn't mean failure. Third and second place are just closer to failure." The silver-robed man's expression darkened. Of course, it wasn't that he didn't understand the monkey expert's thoughts. He knew very well why this person placed so much importance on first place. Back then, they were in the same batch of people who participated in the Genius Tournament. This monkey expert had always been ranked second, and the ones above him had always been the elites of the human race. After entering the universe, he should have shone brightly, but he was completely suppressed by that human genius. He was clearly extremely talented, but yet no one paid any attention to him. He had always been brooding over this. In order to break through the barrier of human geniuses, he didn't hesitate to give up his position in the Virtual World Corporation and his right to manage a universe nation, and went into seclusion to cultivate. Unfortunately, after he came out, that human genius was killed by the outsiders while he was carrying out his mission. He no longer had any way to prove himself. Although the humans later saw his brilliance, there were always those who believed that he only got his turn after that human genius died. How many years has it been? Why are you still brooding over it? According to what you said, I was ranked 300 back then, but I'm still an overlord now. Where is that top genius now? Living is the most important thing. No matter how dazzling he was, it's still a pity. That's why living is more important. The monkey expert didn't show much emotion. The expert of the monkey race did not show too much emotion. But at the very least, his entire life was filled with brilliance. If he were still alive, his achievements would definitely be higher than yours. What about you? He might not be able to beat me. The monkey expert's eyes flashed. The eyes of the monkey race expert flickered. Also, even though you're an overlord, your strength isn't very strong amongst the other overlords. You can't even beat a few sovereigns, right? For example, Ling Feng. You care so much about that Yi Zichen. Is it because Ling Feng beat him up last time? The silver-robed man suddenly threw the crystal cup on the ground angrily, then walked out. I'm going to apply. I'm not going to work with you anymore. Don't ever send me a message for the rest of your life. Oh, the monkey expert nodded silently. I never did either. You were the one who sent me messages. The silver-robed man turned around and glanced at the monkey expert. Where's my blade? From the start to the end, the expert of the monkey clan just sat on the sofa without any expression on his face. All he could think about was the silver-robed man's words. Living is the most important thing. No matter how dazzling you are, it's still a pity if you die. Chapter 2488. Not even half a minute later, the silver-robed middle-aged man, who impulsively asked for a saber, silently returned to the sofa in the living room. Aren't you going to leave? I'm afraid that you'll shut yourself up if I leave. The silver-robed middle-aged man glared at the monkey expert. I can't bear to part with the wine here. Isn't this wine nice? I'll bring more for you next time. At least you're saying something reasonable. A smile finally appeared on the silver-robed middle-aged man's face. No matter what, the two of them have been friends for several 100,000 years. Their friendship was very deep. Suddenly, the expression of the monkey expert on the sofa darkened. What is it? Why is this examination ground a level 2 world? The monkey expert pointed at the projection. A level 2 world. Among the human races in the universe. The places that humans normally lived in were all level 1 worlds. A level 2 world meant that it was a separate space within a level 1 world. There are all sorts of laws within, and it was basically no different from a level 1 world. The only difference was that there was no cosmic energy here. Cosmic energy was self-produced by the universe, so it could not be artificially produced. If it could be artificially produced, then humans would be able to easily obtain experts above the sovereign level, as long as they had enough cosmic energy. A level 2 world. The silver-robed, middle-aged man also looked at the projection. What's so strange about that? Isn't it just a level 2 world? Why are you so surprised? Only this place is a level 2 world, the monkey expert said. Are you sure? The silver-robed, middle-aged man frowned. I already told my photon computer to confirm it for me. This is the only place where the examination is held in a level 2 world. The monkey expert frowned. As soon as he finished speaking, the two Overlord-class almighties looked at each other in confusion. Actually, this sort of situation wasn't worth their attention at all. It was just that the situation in the universe was rather complicated, and they were sent here to pay attention to the situation of the fight between geniuses. They had to pay attention to any sort of abnormality. I'll go ask the higher-ups. With that, the silver-robed, middle-aged man's consciousness entered the virtual network. The monkey expert also frowned and stared at the projection without saying anything. Yellow sand filled the sky. Yi Zichen, who was still on planet White Mark just a second ago, arrived in the middle of a desert in the next. So heavy. The moment he landed, Yi Zichen couldn't help but frown, while his legs were slightly bent from the pressure. The gravity here was ridiculously high. He wasn't used to being here all of a sudden. According to the information I stole, at this moment, Bailey appeared and said solemnly, "The gravity here is 3,000 times the average of the universe. No wonder. Yi Zichen stood on the spot for around 10 minutes. Only then did he slightly adapt to the gravity here, but walking was still a little difficult. He had never undergone systematic gravity training. This sudden situation was rather difficult for him to deal with. I wonder where the others were teleported to. The entire desert was boundless, and a strong sense of loneliness lingered in his heart. Do you want to meet other people? Bailey curled his lips. In the early stages, it's better if we don't bump into anyone. That bearded man doesn't like you, so he called you in first. He's obviously looking for trouble. Maybe he's a little petty. Yi Zichen guessed that the bearded man did that most likely because of the question he asked when he received his identity medallion. Otherwise, there was no need to call him, right? There are so many people. Can't I call anyone? Great. Now I become everyone's target. Anyone who sees me would think that I'm delicious and a target with a huge amount of points. Fortunately, Yi Zichen was rather confident in his own strength. With his level 9 universe-level aura, he was able to suppress some of the nobodies to a certain extent. If anyone wants to take my points, they have to think about themselves first. Bailey, how far is this desert? Don't I like it here? Is there any land in the examination area? Yi Zichen looked at the surrounding desert. I keep feeling like there's danger hidden here. Let's go to land. It'll be easier for me to move around that way. During that time, Yi Zichen also touched the sand on the ground. It's very heavy. These grains of sand were like golden sand, giving people a heavy feeling when placed in their hands. Furthermore, it might be due to the gravity. When his hand passed through the desert, he could feel a lot of resistance. Hey, Bailey, look, this sand seems to be gold. As he spoke, an enlarged map appeared in front of Yi Zichen. Take a look, Bailey said. This examination area is pretty much all desert. There's very little land. If you want to go to land, then a red coordinate appeared in front of Yi Zichen. This is our current location. Oh yeah, you're not wrong to say that the sand is gold. This desert is called the Golden Desert. If you want to go to land, see how far you need to go. When the red dot appeared, Yi Zichen's expression couldn't help but darken. He was currently in the center of the desert. If he wanted to go to land, he needed to cross half of the desert. The entire map, 80% of it was desert, 10% was land, and the rest was the ocean. I really suspect that the bearded man is messing with me on purpose. Ah, that's for sure. Bailey laughed with schadenfreude. Bailey laughed gloatingly. But it could also be that you're unlucky. Who can say for sure? I'm still going to go to land. Yi Zichen pondered for a moment. No matter what, I don't want to stay in this sort of shitty place. What's more, the desert is too exposed. It's not very beneficial for me. You're right to think that way. Bailey nodded. Bailey, then I'll have to trouble you to scout the surroundings. Yi Zichen slowly lifted his foot. At that moment, he truly suspected that if it wasn't for the fact that he had the rune stone to increase his genetic power, he might have been crushed to the ground by the gravity. Leave it to me, Bailey smiled. Bailey said with a smile. In less than half a minute, an ugly smile suddenly appeared on his face. Yeezy, what is it? If I say that we're being targeted by huge trouble, would you feel excited? Yi Zichen tilted his head. At that very moment, a lizard over 10-odd meters tall suddenly appeared in front of him. F***CKU. Are you trying to kill me? Chapter 2489. It was a lizard several tens of meters tall. It appeared less than 1,000 meters in front of Yi Zichen. Anyone would be frightened by the sudden appearance of this huge monster from the desert. Run. There was no need to hesitate at all. Before Yi Zichen confirmed his opponent's strength, he wouldn't do anything risky to attack. Humans would always unleash their limitless potential in times of danger. Before the lizard came out, Yi Zichen was already struggling to walk through the Golden Desert. Based on his slow speed, it might take him several years to walk out of the desert. That's great. Yi Zichen ran as fast as he could, as if he were on wheels of fire and wind. The moment it saw Yi Zichen, the lizard locked onto him and charged over with bloodshot eyes. It was obvious from its actions. The ferocious beast in front of him was a ferocious beast. Ferocious beast, Yao, spiritual beast, divine beast. That was how humans define non-humans. Spiritual beasts and divine beasts. They were beasts that possessed the intelligence of humans. For example, the phoenix race and the dragon race. Yao had a certain level of intelligence, but they were generally low in intelligence. As for ferocious beasts, Yi Zichen had come into contact with them the most. The number of ferocious beasts he had killed in the second universe was more than 6 digits. Ferocious beasts had no intelligence at all. They were fierce, cruel, and bloodthirsty. Their hearts were completely dominated by the desire to kill. In their eyes, anyone who wasn't of the same race would become their target. The lizard in front of him was completely acting on its instincts as a ferocious beast. Its goal was to kill the invader, Yi Zichen. I told you this place was weird. Who can handle a ferocious beast suddenly appearing in the desert? Yi Zichen didn't stop muttering as he ran. However, as a native ferocious beast of the Golden Desert, the lizard's speed was much higher than his. Even though Yi Zichen was already using all his strength, the lizard still chased after him relentlessly, and the distance between them continued to shorten. Bailey, how is it? Yi Zichen urged with a frown. He had already told Bailey to analyze the ferocious beast's situation the moment he started running. I'm still looking. Why haven't you found it yet? We're not on planet Whitemark, just search for it. Yi Zichen said. No, Bailey answered with a frown. There are no xenogeneic races other than the human race on planet Whiteming. I have already started searching on the big network. Wait a little longer. Why don't you fight him? You're at the universe level 9 anyway. Why are you afraid of it? You're really interesting. How can I be afraid of it? Yi Zichen snickered. This is a strategic retreat. If you say that, then I'll fight him a bit. Hurry up. With that, Yi Zichen stopped in his tracks. A long sword appeared in his hand. This long sword was one of the few admiral-grade weapons he had obtained in the second universe. As for the commander-in-chief rank, he gave it to his precious son. It's best not to use our trump cards if we can. This kind of elimination competition will definitely be broadcasted to the entire universe. Regardless of whether it's the 5 elements elemental spirits or the divine sword, it'll be over if we expose it. Yi Zichen muttered to himself. Up until now, what he had revealed was his ability to control several types of elements. But the elemental spirits had not been exposed yet. Although, some people might have already guessed in this direction, but before he truly showed himself, it couldn't be considered conclusive evidence. But if he did, then everyone in the universe would know. He was the seed left behind by the Master of the Galaxy. As for the divine sword, there was no need to even mention it. The god race had been completely exterminated by the human race. Even now, the human race was still hunting the god race. If his identity as a god race was exposed, that would be even more terrifying than the Master of the Galaxy's elemental spirits. The best thing to do was to kill the lizard in front of him using the power of the universe. That would save him a lot of trouble. Yi Zichen gripped the hilt of his sword tightly. Yi Zichen stood silently on the spot and watched the huge creature get closer and closer to him. Mommy, is Daddy going to fight this monster? Yi reached out his hand with curiosity in his castle on Blue River. Yeah, Daddy's going to fight the monster, Xiaokiki forced a smile. Xiaokiki forced a smile on her face. Little did she know, her heart was already hanging by a thread. Everyone else also had a solemn expression. Monkey, this lizard doesn't look like it's going to be easy to deal with. Yang Jian squinted his eyes and muttered as he looked at the projection. Although he hadn't been in the desert, his many years of battle experience and intuition told him that the lizard would definitely be a troublesome opponent. It does seem so, the great sage nodded. But it shouldn't be a problem with us brothers' abilities. Go, Daddy. At that moment, Yi waved his hand and shouted. With that, the babies in the room all started to shout at the screen. Go, Daddy. Yi Zichen naturally did not know that his babies were cheering him on in front of the screen. If he did, his battle prowess would have increased by several times. At that moment, he had already completely focused on the lizard. 200 meters, 100 meters, 50 meters, 30 meters. Yi Zichen calculated the distance between him and the lizard and tightened his grip on his sword. Until 10 meters. You're dead. He swung his sword. The moment Yi Zichen swung his sword, a surge of sword intent and the power of the universe surrounded his sword. A strand of sword energy landed on the golden sand, causing the sand in the desert to dance wildly. Roar! When the lizard saw that its target was right in front of it, it swung its claws down towards Yi Zichen. It's over. Yi Zichen turned his wrist, and several streaks of white sword light landed on the lizard. Before the lizard's paw could land, it was sliced in half. At the same time, its entire body was enveloped by the sword light, causing it to turn into countless specks of golden sand that fell onto the desert. Yay! Daddy won! He waved his fist with a smile. Xiaoqi and the others also let out a sigh of relief. However, Yang Jian and the great sage continued to frown. It was too easy. From their point of view, the lizard died way too easily. Sand beast? A body formed from golden sand? Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at the golden sand that fell onto the ground. However, he didn't think too much about it. It was fine as long as it was dealt with. It seems like I was being too cautious. No matter what, I'm still a Universe Stage 9, so dealing with this sort of beast is a piece of cake. However, for some reason, Yi Zichen felt that it was a bit strange. He still felt that the lizard died way too easily. What's more, I didn't even see its energy crystal core when I killed it. F***CK. No way. Just as Yi Zichen hesitated, the slain lizard reformed in the desert. Furthermore, it seemed to be much larger than before. Bailey, did you find it yet? I'm going to be annoyed to death by this guy. Chapter 2490. Within a pitch-black planet. White Mark was the middle of the day, but this life planet felt like it was night without any light. The entire planet was pitch black. This could no longer be considered a life planet. For humans, a planet without light was unsuitable for survival. Within such a planet, lock onto White Mark's examination area, lock onto participant Yi Zichen. Retreat. Within a dark room. The only source of light in the room was the virtual network projection. A black-robed elder sat in front of the projection. There was also a black light soaring in front of him. The attendant in the room followed his orders and locked onto Yi Zichen on White Mark. On the screen was the moment when Yi Zichen killed the lizard. Replay it again. Replay it again. Replay it again. The elder in the room had already replayed the scene over 100 times in less than 2 seconds. Ai, what do you think? As soon as the old man's voice fell, the attendant followed up. He's a talent with potential. His sword intent is pretty good, but I can tell that he's unorthodox. That's right. The elder nodded. Teacher, think about it. He's not qualified enough. The elder shook his head. How about this? Go and arrange for us to give him our entry-level sword technique. Pay attention to him after that. But teacher, he hesitated for a moment. It was obvious that he wanted to say something. Speak. This person might very well be the descendant of the Milky Way Master, Star Lord Sanyu. What does that have to do with me? The elder's gaze did not change at all. I feel like he's a talent with potential in the way of the sword. I don't want to waste his talent. So what's wrong with giving him an entry-level sword technique? If Sanyue wants to cause trouble for me, then just let her come. Am I afraid of her? I understand. He nodded. Oh yeah, just give him the first one. There's no need to give too much, the elder added. Young man, don't bite off more than you can chew. Just give him the first one and treat it as an introduction. Understood. Hearing that, Ai left the room. The elder also turned off the virtual network projection. The feeling of darkness is still the best. Unbeknownst to them, not long before the old man turned off the holographic projection, a voice suddenly rang out. Grandfather, in the bright living room. A girl with bright eyes and white teeth pointed at the virtual projection with her long silver hair swaying behind her back. Look, on the second floor of the living room, a hale and hearty old man slowly walked down. He looked at the girl with a smile, and his eyes were filled with love that could not be expressed in words. What's wrong? Grandpa, look. The girl pointed at the projection, which was also the scene of Yi Zichen killing the lizard. Golden Sand Lizard. What are you looking at? An extraterrestrial projection? What? The young girl frowned. This is the elimination tournament for the competition of geniuses. Grandpa, can't you be a bit more concerned about this? It's been another 1,000 years. The old man smiled and looked at the image and sighed. Why are you showing me this? Which family is this genius from? Why is our baby so concerned about him? When you have time, bring it back for Grandpa to see. You're not young anymore. Grandpa won't object to you. Grandpa. The girl frowned angrily. What exactly are you talking about? If you don't speak properly, then I'm not going to stay here with you anymore. Don't. I'll see, all right? Only then did the old man start to look seriously at the image on the screen. A level 2 world. Why is the examination held in a level 2 world this time? This golden sand lizard is also a ferocious beast from the outside world. Why did the Virtual World Corporation let it out? That's not important. Look at the way he used the sword. What's wrong? Isn't he just a layman? The old man glanced at her. I'm telling you, you can't learn from him. Look at the way he used the sword just now. It's wrong. Not only did he waste energy, the power he released was also quite pitiful. Also, look at him. He clearly didn't do his homework. Physical attacks are actually useless against the golden sand lizard. Sand beasts can't be killed. He cut the golden sand lizard into so many pieces, and countless more golden sand lizards will be born soon. He's just seeking his own death. I'm leaving. I'm going to find my dad. The girl waved her hand, grabbed a silver long sword from the table, and was about to leave. Where are you going? The old man grabbed the girl's arm. Aren't I already analyzing it seriously and telling you about the characteristics of the golden sand lizard? Why are you running over to your dad's place? Is the sword your dad uses better than mine? You're doing it on purpose. The girl frowned. How am I doing it on purpose, my little princess? The old man walked in front of the girl with a chuckle. Look, just say whatever you want to say. Grandpa doesn't know what you want me to see. Don't you think that this is a talent with potential? At that moment, the girl tilted her head and pointed at Yi Zichen, who killed the golden sand lizard. Even though he's an amateur. But to be able to use an amateur to this extent, don't you think that he's very talented in the way of the sword? He's just so. The old man glanced at her. And felt that the young girl was a little unhappy. He smiled and explained, Hey, Grandpa is speaking the truth. Your grandpa has seen too many geniuses in the sword Tao. Let's not talk about others like him. Which of my disciples is inferior to him in the sword Tao? People like him are at most above average. They aren't that amazing. All right. This time, the girl didn't argue. She also knew that her grandpa was speaking the truth. She had wanted to get credit from her grandpa for finding a decent talent with the sword. You think very highly of him. The old man smiled. Not really. I just think that he's pretty good. The girl hesitated for a moment. What's more, he's always been an amateur, so I think that he's rather pitiful. Silly girl, an amateur isn't pitiful. Only an amateur has limitless possibilities. Think about it. Before the way of the sword is formed, who didn't find their way bit by bit through an amateur? But if there's a system of learning, then wouldn't you be able to avoid a lot of detours? The girl looked up. Grandpa, how about you take him as your disciple? What are you talking about? How many years has it been since I last took in a disciple? The old man opened his eyes wide and looked at the girl in shock. Little princess, Grandpa knows that you're kind. But if Grandpa takes him as a disciple, then wouldn't the seniority in the universe be messed up? Then he's really not bad. He is, don't worry. Even if we ignore him, there's someone who is willing to take care of this sort of thing. Who? Your Grandpa Hay. He loves to take care of these grassroots. The old man smiled. Don't worry. Your Grandpa Hay might have already told IE to make arrangements. Go and ask if you don't believe me. Chapter 2491. Hearing this, the girl entered the virtual network. In less than half a minute. Grandpa, how did you know? The girl's eyes were filled with surprise. I contacted brother IE just now, and he said that Grandpa Hay really did send someone. He also reminded me not to call him Big Brother, saying that he's my junior. How would he be my junior? You should think about whose granddaughter you are. The old man stroked the girl's head lovingly. Since your Grandpa Hay is in charge, then let's not bother. Also, my little princess, don't try to drag anyone who uses a sword into our family. We have enough people in our family. Ouch! The young girl pouted as if she had been wronged. All right, practice your sword well. You've also signed up for the genius competition, right? When will it be your turn? I went straight to the last round. Grandpa, you really don't care too much about me. The girl curled her lips. I'm old. I don't have much energy left. As soon as he finished speaking, the old man sat in his seat and looked at the projection. They were good seedlings. He had recognized it at first glance, but he didn't want to fight with his old friend. He was very clear that this kind of unorthodox method was exactly what his old friend wanted. It was just that this silly kid didn't seem to recognize the golden sand lizard and didn't know how to deal with it. What is this octagonal table thinking? Placing the ferocious beast from the outer realms here. Is this some sort of signal? Illo, who knew how many times it had been killed? The lizards that Yizichin had already killed suddenly crawled out of the golden desert once more, and their numbers only increased. Yizichin frowned. After killing them a few times, he also started to notice the abnormality of the lizards. This lizard had the ability to split. No matter how many times Yizichin cut him into pieces, he just split up. Yizichin no longer dared to attack rashly. At this moment, more than 30 lizards were chasing after him. It was naturally no problem for Yizichin to take care of them. However, if there were more of them, then he wouldn't have a good time being surrounded by them. More importantly, cosmic energy could not be restored here. What the hell is this place? At first, Yizichin didn't pay much attention. It wasn't until he'd used up about 10% of his cosmic energy that he realized he couldn't replenish it. There was no cosmic energy in this assessment area. Bell! Yizichin couldn't help but shout, followed by dozens of golden sand lizards. All right, found it. At that moment, Bailey, who stood on Yizichin's shoulder, shouted excitedly. Hurry up and say it. This is a golden sand lizard from the outer realms. An adult golden sand lizard has the strength of a king-ranked martial artist and above. According to its size, the lizard we are facing should be around the universe grade. That's not important. Tell me how to kill him. Use water, Bailey spoke. Water? Yizichin raised his eyebrows, while Bailey also nodded. Yeah, they're afraid of water. The water can seal their movements, and then we can kill them. Understood. Yizichin nodded, then shouted into his sea of consciousness. Little water, I've been preparing for a long time. The water elemental sprite laughed loudly in Yizichin's sea of consciousness, then said rather proudly, Did you guys see that? My performance. Were you up to it? That Laowu is the one who releases the lightning. Aren't you good at it? Come, kill them. Stop showing off, Yizichin said in his sea of consciousness. Yizichin said, Hurry up and bring me some. You don't want ice? I want water. Yizichin was about to go crazy. He was being chased around by the lizards, but none of the elemental sprites were in a hurry at all. Only little Sister Wind was sensible enough to cast a wind escape technique on him. No problem, water's coming. All of a sudden, a heavy downpour descended from the sky. The moment the rain fell, the entire golden desert seemed to solidify. The bodies of the golden sand lizards also gradually solidified, leaving behind a thick shell on their bodies. Ha! Now it's my turn, right? Yizichin raised his sword high. A surge of energy gathered on the blade. Slash! Instantly, the sword flashed. 30-odd golden sand lizards were instantly reduced to dust. Come, give me some more. Yizichin let out a sigh of relief when he saw all 30-odd lizards turn to dust. These few hours, I'm really going to explode from being chased by these lizards. Yizichin took a look at the leaderboard. Yizichin, 3,700. According to the universe level's 100 points, all the golden sand lizards I killed just now have become my points. I wonder what's going on with the others. That's very inhumane. If Yizichin could see the other people's points, then he would be able to save a lot of trouble as long as he didn't show himself on the leaderboard. It was precisely because he couldn't see it that many people thought that he had a high score. What a headache. Yizichin couldn't help but sigh, while Bailey's face was filled with excitement. AI, since we know the way to deal with it now, let's go and find another one. Let's split up a bit more and get more points. No. Yizichin shook his head. Let's hurry to land. I don't want to stay in this sort of shitty place. Also, This examination area is very strange. Can't you feel that there's no universal energy? I'm a photon computer. How can I feel it? Bailey rolled his eyes. That's true. Yi Zichen smiled. There's no universal energy here, so it can't be recovered after we use it up. Let's not use it too much, otherwise, it'll be troublesome if we use it all up. What's more, this bit of points isn't very useful. Everyone will have more than 1,000,000 points in the later stages, so we just need to find people. You're really something, Bailey smiled. Bailey grinned. I think your idea is pretty good, right? That's the idea of a genius. Yi Zichen cracked his neck. Yi Zichen stretched his neck, then had Sisphone buff him with wind escape before running towards the outside of the desert. It's this cosmic energy. It really is a huge problem. There should be a way to resupply, right? Bailey asked. How? There's no universal energy here at all. Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. Bailey rolled his eyes once again. I'm just saying. How would I know if you ask me? Do you want me to hack into those managers' heads? Actually, it's not impossible. Yi Zichen joked. All right, I'll go and try. After waiting for half a minute, Bailey said, I've succeeded. I know how to get universal energy now. Huh? Yi Zichen glared at Bailey. What are you talking about? I've heard of the black web. Black brains. What kind of black technology is that? Can any deity explain it? Chapter 2492. Stop messing around. Since Bailey was still in the mood to joke around at a time like this, it was clear that he was rather relaxed. Yi Zichen didn't mind this sort of relaxed atmosphere. However, it wasn't time for him to relax yet, so he had to stay alert. I'm serious. I already know how to recover the energy of the universe. Bailey smiled proudly. Yi Zichen looked at him in shock, then immediately logged onto the virtual network and saw that an email had appeared in his inbox. A mail came. You found out, Bailey smiled. Bailey laughed. Yes, it's such a coincidence that I received an email right after you said that. I was still thinking of bluffing you, but I didn't expect you to react so quickly. Do you think I'm retarded? Hacking into other people's brains was a sole technique. What's more, it required close contact. If Yi Zichen really believed it, he could consider changing his brain. Yi Zichen opened the mail. The contents of the email were specially designed for the participants of the White Ming Planet's assessment area. What's written here? A Level 2 world. A closed-off world. The interior contains complete cosmic elements, but does not contain any cosmic energy. An energy supply box will be provided in the world. Actually, the most important thing is this death storm. Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at the details of the death storm. The death storm will shrink the range of the safe zone. Being outside the safe zone will continuously consume cosmic energy. No matter if one hides underground or in the air, they'll be swallowed by the storm. Most of them will die, and the chances of survival are very small. The air within the death storm is chaotic. It is very difficult to move around inside, and it will continuously consume cosmic energy. When the energy cannot be replenished, the energy will be used up, and the person will die inside. Yi Zichen looked at the important content of the mail. What Yi Zichen paid attention to was the death storm. It might very well be a chance to eliminate a large number of participants, and might even cause them to die. This was because if anyone fell into the death storm, even the staff outside wouldn't dare to easily enter the interior. Actually, I think this is pretty good. Bailey looked at the mail for a while, and after some consideration, he nodded. The dimensions of the second-level worlds are huge, and there are still more than 24 million people in our region's assessment. In the early stages, there might be a lot of people, and people could still interact with each other. If the number of people decreased, if there were only a dozen people left, then how would they eliminate the others? The world is so big, it's impossible to find it. You're right. Yi Zichen nodded as well. From the looks of it, this sort of system was reasonable. It's this death storm. The email didn't explain in detail what it looked like. As for the supply box, there's no clear information on it either. You'll know when you meet him. Bailey squinted his eyes, then whispered into Yi Zichen's ear. I don't know what the supply crate looks like, but I have a rough idea of a death storm. Why? Look! Suddenly, Bailey pointed at the death tornado in front of him that looked like it was the end of the world. Do you think that's a death tornado? Holy shit, why didn't you say so earlier? Yizichen's journey had been full of twists and turns. As soon as he entered the golden desert, he had encountered the golden sand lizards. Fortunately, he had a water elemental sprite, which allowed him to escape. It had not even been half an hour. He had not even caught his breath. The death storm had arrived. Lousy is so King pathetic. Even Yizichen couldn't help but curse as he ran out of the death storm. The email stated very clearly, the only way to survive a death storm was to run. As long as you ran fast enough, the storm wouldn't threaten your life. Help! Help! At that moment, someone seemed to shout in the distance. Hearing that, Yizichen looked over and saw that there were already other humans in the desert. He didn't know how long they'd been there for, whether they'd just been teleported or if they'd been here for a while. What they had in common was that they were all facing the death storm that was about to devour them. Save me, I don't want to die. Someone was wailing in pain and had already crushed his name tag. However, in this situation, no staff appeared at all. Yizichen saw with his own eyes that he couldn't outrun the storm. He was devoured. He didn't break out of it again. Save me. Another person's body was torn to shreds the instant the storm swallowed him up. His flesh and bones were churned up as if by a meat grinder. The scene was nauseating. He was swallowed up as well. CK. Yizichen's scalp instantly went numb. That person died just like that. Given their previous experiences, Yizichen didn't dare underestimate the death storm in the slightest. Sister Feng used her wind escape technique to strengthen Yizichen. In the face of death, anyone's potential would be squeezed out to the fullest. No one wanted to die. Everyone wanted to live. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. The death storm continued to wreak havoc. Without actual contact, it was actually very difficult to directly understand the true meaning of the content just by looking at the content on the email. For example, the death storm Yizichen had encountered earlier. During this time, he'd been constantly contending with the death storm in order to obtain the most beneficial information. Through this period of interaction, Yizichen could roughly conclude that the death storm wasn't moving very quickly. So long as you were at least in the 6th level of the galaxy, you could keep up. It wasn't as if the death storm was ceaselessly shrinking. Under normal circumstances, it would shrink for a period of time before remaining motionless. In a safe zone where the death storm had shrunk, there would be a certain number of accompanying death storms. These death storms' locations were uncertain and random, and they would disappear after wreaking havoc for a while. Worst of all, Yizichen even took the initiative to walk into the storm. The instant he entered, he was almost sucked in. If it weren't for the fact that only half his body was inside, he really might have been swallowed up by the storm. In order to escape, he'd used up a full 30% of his energy. When it comes to courting death, I really have to hand it to you. By now, Yizichen had already arrived at the land he'd been dreaming of. Bailey was telling him about how he'd entered the death storm of his own volition. Other people run away when they see the death storm, but you went in on your own accord. Do you know how dangerous it was? Yizichen really couldn't refute Bailey's accusation, but he was curious. If he didn't go in and truly feel the power of the death storm, he wouldn't feel confident. Don't you want to confirm it? Why is it that some people were pulled in, but some people were directly minced into pieces? True knowledge comes from practice. We must truly understand it before we can feel at ease. Aren't you afraid of it directly mincing half of his body? Bailey frowned and scolded angrily. Haven't we seen enough people being minced into pieces recently? You actually want to experiment in this sort of situation? I really don't understand what's going on in your head. Bailey truly felt like he was scared to death. He watched as Yizichen stood at the edge of the death storm and reached his hand into the death storm, as if he was possessed. He actually reached his hand in. Bailey's voice was nearly hoarse from all the shouting. It was fortunate that nothing had happened to him. Otherwise, Bailey wouldn't know what to do. Don't worry, I know what to do. I paid attention to the strength and clothing of the people who were minced into pieces. Most of them were below the star system level, and they didn't seem to be body cultivators. I'm at the peak of the universe, and my body has been genetically modified. I estimate that I wouldn't die even if I stayed in there for 3 to 5 minutes. You still want to go in? Bailey pointed at Yi Zichen's face. You'd better wake up. We didn't come here to experiment. We came here to participate in the competition. No matter how much you experiment, we won't be able to use it after we go out. Just stay here properly. Do you understand? Who knows? Who knows? We might really encounter the death storm in the future. Before Yi Zichen landed, he already saw Bei Li's murderous gaze. If you want to go in, then let's go our separate ways. You're getting angry? Isn't it fine if I don't go? Yi Zichen let out a long sigh and looked at the death storm in the distance. I really want to go in and take a look. Chapter 2493. Why can't I be angry? What you're doing right now is just messing around. As your optical computer, I have to maintain absolute rationality. I have to remind you when you do anything impulsive. What a pity. I don't think I can persuade you. So let's just break up now. Yi Zichen quickly calmed himself down and apologized sincerely when he felt that Bei Li was truly getting emotional. I was wrong. I was wrong. Can I just not go? I just thought about it and didn't actually go in. Can't even think about it. Bei Li frowned. All right, I definitely won't. When I see that death storm in the future, I'll stay far away, all right? Yi Zichen smiled apologetically. Prince Bei Li isn't angry anymore. That's more like it. Seeing Yi Zichen's sincere apology, Bei Li raised his head proudly and didn't argue any further. Approximately a few minutes later, he returned to his normal expression and sent an image to Yi Zichen's mind. Take a look at this. What's it for? Yi Zichen asked as he looked at the image in his mind. It was an image similar to a map. There were many specially marked points, as well as many places circled in red. The red circles are the random locations of the storms. The yellow dots are the humans around us. The black areas are marked by ferocious beasts, and the blue dots are our own locations. There are so many people here. The entire picture was densely packed with yellow dots. You're not the only one who hates the Golden Desert, Bei Li said. There are golden sand lizards in the Golden Desert. Very few people can deal with these ferocious beasts, so this is naturally a place where humans gather. Actually, we might as well just stay in the Golden Desert. We can deal with the ferocious beasts there, and we can also reduce the possibility of being discovered by humans. You're right, it's just that. I understand what you mean, Bei Li said. That's why I didn't force you to stay there. Since you're already here, then don't bother about other things. Just because there are a lot of people here doesn't mean that they will dare to do anything to you. Bro, at that moment, a young man suddenly appeared in front of Yi Zichen. He had some impression of this person. It was the guy who invited him before he entered. I didn't expect to meet you here. It seems like we're quite fated. The young man smiled and said, I'm sorry, I wanted to invite you last time and forgot to tell you my name, Shi too. I come from the cloud map galaxy of the Blue Empire. Hello. Yi Zichen waved at the youth, then raised his eyebrows. You're not from planet Pinot? No. Shi too shook his head with a smile. Our assessment area seems to have been added later. Some of the participants from other regions were sent here because they couldn't make it in time for the registration. In this examination area, half of it is people from other galaxies or universe countries. I see. Yi Zichen nodded. Looks like you're from the Banao galaxy? Yes. Yi Zichen's attitude was still not very warm. Shidu scratched his head. It was really hard for him to invite Yi Zichen with this attitude. Did you come back to invite me? That's right. Sure, I can team up with you. Yi Zichen smiled without any hesitation. Yeah. Are you sure you want to be in the same group as me? Following me is rather troublesome. It was actually quite simple for Yi Zichen to agree to this invitation. He couldn't be alone. They were all eyeing him covetously. A few people had tried to cause trouble for him earlier, but none of them posed any threat to him. In the end, they were eliminated by Yi Zichen. However, it wasted quite a bit of Yi Zichen's cosmic energy. In a world like this where there was no cosmic energy and energy was completely dependent on the supply box, wasting even a little bit of energy would have a huge impact. What's more, Yi Zichen hadn't seen any supply boxes at all. If he found a team, in that case, he would be able to take a lot of pressure off of him. Ha ha, looks like brother, Yi also knows your own situation. She too laughed. Don't worry, this is not a problem for us. As long as you join us, I can guarantee that no one will dare to make a move against you. So confident? Of course. She too said proudly. A team with 2 universe level 9s. What team do you think would dare act against us? Who else in your team is at the 9th level? Then let me formally introduce you. As Sheeta laughed, a few people walked over from afar. Then, Yi Zichen saw the veiled woman from before. Tiger Head, Tiger Man Universe Level 3. Hello. A 2-meter-tall tiger man with a long scar on his face waved his hand. Ling Xiao, Yin Race Level 9. Hello. The petite girl with freckles waved back. Mu, Human, Universe Level 1. Another young man nodded with Yi Zichen. Finally, our fairy sister. She too ran in front of the veiled woman with an exaggerated smile. Sister, tell him yourself. You are both at the pinnacle of the universe. Language. Yi Zichen. The two of them looked at each other and nodded. She too also ran back with a grin. Finally, this humble servant She too, Human, Universe Level 5. Brother Yi, look at our team's configuration. 2 of them are at the peak of the universe. The rest are all at the universe level. Although Lil Xiao, is in the 9th level of the universe, the Yin race is naturally agile and is comparable to the universe level. With a team like this, you can say that anyone who dares to cause trouble for us will die. In response, Yi Zichen nodded non-committally. It was indeed very hard for anyone to have any ideas about the team. The others were easy to deal with. Yi Zichen was most interested in you. The peak of the universe. One had to know that there were only 6 pinnacle stage experts in their division. Even if the others had ideas about Yi Zichen, when they saw the 2 of them form a team, they would have to think twice about whether or not to cause trouble. How about this? We just need to find someone skilled in water and can control the water element. Then we can set off. Water. Yi Zichen frowned. He didn't know why, but he suddenly had a bad feeling. Yeah, we're all martial artists. Chow knows a bit of wind, and Fairy's sister knows fire. We need to find water. The golden sand lizards in the golden desert need water to deal with them. Oh yeah, Brother Yi, are you a martial artist, or? Yi Zichen's expression instantly darkened. He'd risked his life to get out of the desert, but these people wanted to go back in? Brother Yi, I'm a controller. I can use water. Yi Zichen said reluctantly. She too's eyes lit up. Isn't that perfect? But I don't want to go back to the desert. How about you guys find someone else and I leave? Chapter 2494. Did you see that? It's fated by the heavens. Some things are already fated from the start. Yet, some people just want to defy the heavens and change their fates. See, he's back. Bailey, who was sitting on Yi Zichen's shoulder, muttered endlessly. You better shut up. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in exasperation, then looked speechless. He came back again. He just left the golden desert and returned to this damned place after staying on land for less than half a day. Brother Ye's photon computer is so advanced. He actually has his main body. Sheeta looked at Bailey, who was sitting on Yi Zichen's shoulder, with envy in his eyes. There were many types of photon computers. Some low-grade photon computers simply followed orders. Higher-grade photon computers had intelligence, which was why they were called photon computers. They could help you do some analysis and handle many things for you. High-grade photon computers were like Bailey's. They had independent thoughts and emotions. Interacting with the host was the same as communicating with a human. There was no difference. These kinds of photon computers were all rather expensive and rare. They were all relatively expensive and rare. If it was a commander who was not doing well, he or she might not even have such an optical computer. An elder gave it to me. Yi Zichen understood the rarity of these photon computers, so he found a random excuse. I can tell that Brother Ye's status in the family isn't low, Shitu smiled. Shitu smiled. At that moment, Linkior suddenly walked over and looked at Yi Zichen for a while. Ah, you're that person, right? Your older sister is a sovereign, right? When Yi Zichen mentioned a sovereign, practically everyone in the group turned around. Then, everyone seemed to have remembered and revealed a look of shock. So it really is. No wonder you're so strong. Your older sister is a sovereign. Sovereign Spirit Phoenix is very famous in the human race. We're in the same group as Sovereign's little brother. Our luck is way too good. From start to finish, Yi Zichen maintained his smile, but did not reply. If he spoke up, who knew how long he would have to talk about it? Haha, all right. Although Brother Yi is Sovereign's little brother, he doesn't seem arrogant at all. We're here for the supply boxes, so let's focus on finding them. Shitu quickly changed the topic when he felt that Yi Zichen was a bit uneasy from the other team members' questions. I can't see the supply box either. Her lips twitched. Let's take our time. We'll find it eventually, Shitu said with a smile. Shitu. At that moment, Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment before speaking up. When we got here, you told me you were going to look for the supply box. Are you sure it's in the Golden Desert? I'm not sure. Shitu smiled. Yi Zichen was confused when he heard that. Shitu grinned. But I reckon that there are definitely supply boxes in the Golden Desert. Brother Yi, you're late. We came out in a hurry, so we didn't have time to tell you the specifics. Actually, we didn't come out just to look for supply boxes to resupply. We're planning to monopolize the supply boxes. You guys. In truth, Yi Zichen already understood Shitu's intentions the moment he finished speaking. He probably wanted to collect all the supplies in the supply box, so that the others couldn't get any. In this level 2 world, strength wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was actually the supplies. As long as they could control the supplies, they would be able to obtain sufficient universal energy. Even for those experts, there would be times when the energy of the universe would be exhausted. When that time came, they could completely rely on the supplies to continue staying in the Golden Desert. We all received that email. Everyone knows the importance of supplies very well. There were several 100,000 people fighting over a supply box on the continent we were on before. As for the Golden Desert, no one has come. Those idiots have been paying attention to the death storm and complaining about how hard it is to deal with the ferocious beasts. Since they don't dare to head towards the Golden Desert, doesn't that create an opportunity for us? Shitu's eyes were filled with smiles. As long as we have enough supplies, then we will be undefeatable. But the desert is so huge. Ling Xiao tilted her head and looked at the boundless desert. When are we going to see the supplies? None of you collected them. Suddenly, Shita looked at the others with a strange expression. After the email was sent, a map was added to our virtual network. After collecting the map, we can see the location of the supply box, the shrinking range of the death storm, and the random storm zone. None of you collected them? When Shitu's words subsided, everyone in the group looked at him in shock. Bailey, is there an attachment in the email? Yes. Bailey licked his lips. I thought it was just an ordinary map. Don't we have it? I didn't collect it. Damn, there really is one. The Tigerman expert's eyes widened in surprise. Oh my God, I really don't know how you guys survived all this time. Shita couldn't help but slap his face. After everyone collected the map, they saw that it was a completely dynamic map. It marked the number of survivors in the assessment zone and the time of the next death storm. There's also a blue box in the middle of the map. See, this blue box is the supply box. We're going to the supply box now. Shita couldn't help but sigh. I didn't think that I would be the only one to notice this. The others only glanced at the email and didn't pay attention to the details. We've been heading towards this box ever since we entered the desert. I thought you guys already knew. Stop talking about this, I see people. Suddenly, you, who had been silent all this while, frowned and spoke up. Everyone looked over and saw 10-odd people in the distance. They seemed to be heading towards the supply box as well. According to the mark on the map, the supplies should have arrived. Why can't we see them yet? The Tigerman expert scratched his head. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and looked over, then saw a blue box covered in yellow sand in a sandpit. Only a corner of the box could be seen. If one didn't look carefully, it would be very hard to notice. The supplies are over there. As soon as he finished speaking, she too frowned and cracked his neck. Get ready. From now on, this desert belongs to our team. This is our box. No one can touch it. Chapter 2495. In a world without any cosmic energy, it wasn't just Yi Zichen's team that had their eyes on the supply box. If one person could think of it, the others would definitely think of it as well. The only difference was that it was only a matter of time. At this level, Even if they were at the entry-level domain level of a cosmic citizen, they definitely weren't simple people. No one was stupid. Why did they go around it? Ling Qiao frowned. There was a team in front of them, but when they were about to reach the supply box, they didn't go to get it. Instead, they went around the box. Did they not see it? Tigerhead asked. Do you think that's possible? Mu twitched his mouth. They were almost right in front of their faces. If they can't see it, then all I can say is that their eyes are just decorations. Tigerhead was speechless. Tigerhead's thought things through very simply. He was just saying it casually. He rubbed his nose bitterly. He didn't retort and waited for his team leader and the two big shots to speak. All he had to do was carry out the order. Brother Yi, big sister Yu, what do you think? She didn't say what he thought. Instead, he asked Yi Zichen and Yu, the two peak experts of the universe. There are golden sand lizards around the box. You said, yes. Yi Zichen nodded. The supply box was right in front of them. There had to be a reason why they didn't take it. Then, the only possibility was that there were golden sand lizards around. As for the fact that the supply box had already been taken, they didn't even look. That was impossible. What's more, the golden sand around the box was wriggling. Although it was well hidden, it was obvious that there were golden sand lizards hiding there. I think so too. After the two big shots spoke, she too also nodded. It's just that we can't be sure just how many golden sand lizards there are. 6. You said. 9. Yi Zichen said. Both of them glanced at each other as soon as they finished speaking. They gave different numbers, and the difference wasn't small either. Why did you say 9? You frowned. There are 3 more hidden underneath the box. Yi Zichen gestured. Yi Zichen pointed towards the bottom of the supply box. You should be looking around the box, right? Really? Yu furrowed his brows and released his cosmic energy. Soon, he raised his eyebrows and nodded silently. You're right. Haha, it's about the same as 6. The 3 at the bottom are stellar level. They're not threatening at all. Yi Zichen sensed that Yu's mood wasn't quite right. You did not say a word. She couldn't accept the mistake she had just made. She had come here to aim for first place. If she couldn't even get first place in the first round of trials, then what right did she have to get into the top 10,000 of the entire universe's genius competition? Moreover, her goal wasn't just 10,000. Ha ha ha, Brother Yi is right. Actually, the gap between us isn't that big. How about the strength of the others? Why don't we take action? She too also smiled. But those people are lying in ambush. They must be waiting for the others to exhaust themselves with the golden sand lizards before coming out to reap the benefits. Ling Qiao reminded. We're not afraid. She too shrugged nonchalantly. What's the composition of our team? So what if someone ambushes us? Do you think they can deal with our 2 big shots? The golden sand lizards are hard to deal with because they can split themselves without touching water. Brother Yi is a water controller, so dealing with them won't take too much effort. I agree. Hutu nodded. I agree as well. Mu nodded as well. Brother Yi, big sister Yu, what do you think? She too asked with a smile. Yu was expressionless. It was clear that she had no objections to any decision. Sure, there were still a lot of supply boxes on the map. Yi Zichen didn't want to waste too much time here. They took the supply box. They had to hurry to the next one. Then let's go. She too made the final decision. I'm going to attract the golden sand lizard's attention. Ling Qiao, use wind escape. As for attacking, I'll leave it to you guys. With that, Ling Qiao activated wind escape under Shi-Tu's feet. Shi-Tu also leapt forward. Not long after, all 9 golden sand lizards were summoned. Brother Yi, big sister Yu. The golden sand lizards chased after them relentlessly. Yi Zichen raised his hand without any hesitation, causing all of the water elements in the surrounding space to gather in his palm. Soon after, the clear skies of the golden desert began to rain cats and dogs. Hutu and Mu both prepared to attack. Just as they were about to do so, a blinding flame lit up behind them. The scorching flames seemed like they were going to burn the heavens and the earth. Go! It was accompanied by a whisper. 9 balls of fire tore through the sky and landed precisely on the golden sand lizards' heads. All of a sudden, the golden sand lizards melted. Damn, a fire controller. Assault types are so fierce. Hutu and Mu exclaimed. Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at you. I didn't expect her to be a violent girl with fire control abilities. Brother Yi, big sister Yu, you're so cool. She too laughed loudly, while Ling Xiaoer's eyes were filled with shock. Just now, although Yi Zichen and you didn't know each other, their teamwork was practically flawless. It seems like we won't be needed in the future, Hu Tu shrugged. Hu Tu shrugged, while Mu also nodded helplessly. With an assault-type controller present, the two of them, who had just reached the universe level, could say goodbye to the stage. Give me all the points. You frowned. There's nothing we can do about it, she too shrugged. The points belong to whoever kills the beast, but that's not important. As long as we survive until the end, we'll definitely get plenty of points. The most important thing right now is to get the supply box. Everyone else nodded. You subconsciously looked towards Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen shrugged. He didn't care too much about the points. The true way to get points was to eliminate others. That was the best way to get points in large quantities. Hurry up and see what's in the supply box. Hu Tu grinned and ran forward, while the others stood silently in place. They had dealt with the golden sand lizards, but they hadn't dealt with the team that ambushed them. Actually, the supply box didn't belong to them yet. However, after a moment of hesitation, everyone else followed. Everyone followed suit. Perhaps the ambushing team would not dare to cause trouble after seeing their strength. Chapter 2496. Damn, we're rich. Everyone arrived in front of the supply box. She too opened the chest in front of everyone. Seeing the supplies in the chest, Nimble, Tiger Head, and Mu, who were surrounding the chest, were stunned. Elixir supply. After a short moment of silence, Shitu's pupils dilated. He looked at the people around him in surprise, and then at the supplies in the box. Medicinal pills. All of them are high-grade recovery and healing pills. This chest is worth at least $1 million universe dollars. Shitu's breathing quickened as he spoke. $1 million universe dollars, to those who had just stepped into the universe level, could be considered a huge amount of wealth. Ling Xiaoer, Hu Tu, and Mu. After hearing this number, their eyes were filled with surprise. In response, Yi Zichen and you didn't react at all. From the way he spoke, he was most likely from a large family in the universe. For example, Steel Bar Steel family had an allowance of hundreds of thousands or even millions. If it were some big clans, using it to nurture their clan's heirs would definitely require even more resources. As for Yi Zichen, at this moment, he had a life star. With his chaotic star, it was easy for him to earn 1 million a day. He was more concerned about the supplies here. In this kind of enclosed level 2 world, the value of the supplies far exceeded the value of the supplies. It looked like this box was worth millions on the outside. It was not impossible to sell it for tens of millions here. No matter what, supplies were a rare commodity here. Even if you had the money, you wouldn't be able to sell goods here. The eyes of Shi Tu and the others were filled with excitement. About half a minute was only enough time. When they finally calmed down, they noticed that Yi Zichen and you were acting very normally, and realized that they might have lost their composure just now. I've embarrassed myself in front of Brother Yi and Sister Yu. Shi Tu smiled sheepishly and scratched his head. What's there to laugh at? 1 million universe credits isn't a small amount to begin with. It's only natural that I feel excited. Yi Zichen smiled understandingly. Yeah, but don't get too excited. The supplies don't truly belong to us yet. Why doesn't it belong to us? The tiger head widened its eyes. We're still being watched by some people. Yi Zichen stretched lazily, then shot a water arrow at the distant golden desert. You've been hiding there all this time. What exactly do you want? Do you want to leave? Or do you want to steal? Tell me, are those people still there? Shi Tu and company looked in the direction of Yi Zichen's arrow. They thought that the reason why those people didn't come out was because they saw the strength of their team and didn't dare to fight for it anymore. They didn't expect that these people were still hiding nearby, waiting for an opportunity to strike. The water arrow shot out. The golden sand seemed to have not been nourished by water for a long time, greedily absorbing the water element of the water arrow. Soon, a large patch of golden sand solidified. Beneath the golden sand, 6 young men and women walked out. It had to be said, The overall strength of this team was pretty good. 3 were in the Universe Stage 8, while the others were all in the Universe Stage 4 or higher. In terms of overall strength, they were no weaker than Yi Zichen's team. F***CK. We've run into a tough one. Seeing them walk out, who too couldn't help but curse in a low voice. Yi Zichen, you. How did our 2 peak-level friends end up in a team like this? The one who spoke was a muscular youth. How about this? You join us. You should be able to see that our team's overall strength is far superior to yours. Let's eliminate these people, then we'll split the points evenly. How about that? Big brother Yi, big sister you. When they heard that, she too and the others' expressions changed. If Yi Zichen and the others nodded. Even if just one of them nodded, their entire team would be annihilated. You're right. Unfortunately, I don't like you. I can't be bothered to play with you. Yi Zichen shrugged. Then you two hesitated for a moment before voicing her opinion. If he doesn't go, then there's no point in me going. When they heard the 2 big shots' responses, everyone in the team let out a long sigh of relief. Big Shots really had the demeanor of big shots. You're not acting rationally at all. The muscular youth shook his head with a sigh. If you're in a team like this, they won't be able to help you. They'll only be a burden. If you don't want to be in our team, that's fine. But I suggest you pair up with 2 peak-level friends. You'll be far stronger than they are right now. Not a bad suggestion. I'll consider it. Yi Zichen nodded. Out of respect for you two, we won't fight you, said the muscular youth. That is, if possible, I hope you can split the spoils with us. The muscular youth demanded an exorbitant price. When they heard that, she too and the others' expressions changed. You really have a big appetite. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. The sturdy young man nodded noncommittally. I'm not trying to scare you, but if you really do fight us, you might not necessarily win. Splitting the spoils with us will save you some cosmic energy. Isn't that a good deal? You're very confident, too. Not long after the muscular youth said that, Yi Zichen let out a sigh and smiled. I don't dislike confident people, but I especially dislike conceited people. Do you think your team's overall strength is pretty good, so you think you can fight us? Isn't that so? We 3 are in the 8th stage of the universe. Suppressing 2 of you in the 9th stage shouldn't be a problem, right? That depends on who you are. Yi Zichen smiled at him. You think there's not much of a difference between the 8th and 9th stages, but you have no idea. The difference between us is, your limit is the 8th stage. I'm a 9th because there are only 9 peak levels in the universe. With that, Yi Zichen shrugged. Don't make a mistake. Hurry up and F***CK off. Be careful, or you'll lose your life before you even get your supplies. I really don't know where you get your confidence from. The muscular youth's gaze darkened. Just because you're a controller of water? So what if you're at the peak of the universe? Water is still water. You said you weren't wrong. Yi Zichen nodded seriously. Little did he know, if he hadn't suppressed the water elemental sprite, the guy would have jumped at him a long time ago. Now, the sprite was cursing in Yi Zichen's mind. It was so angry that it wanted to spar with the youth. But I have assault-type people here. Yi Zichen took 2 steps back, then pushed you out. These brats don't respect me, so they don't respect you. Big sister you, burn them to death. Chapter 2497. You, when you saw Yi Zichen run towards her, her eyes were filled with astonishment. She didn't say anything for a long time. Burn them, Yi Zichen urged as he hid behind her. Why me? Weren't you arguing with him just now? You should be the one dealing with this problem. You replied in confusion. I'm a water controller. Do you expect me to fight them? Ha, do you see that? Your teammates don't want to help you at all. The muscular youth's eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain. The sturdy young man's eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain. As he spoke, the rest of his team surrounded him. He looked at the fire controller and said with a smile, Hey, pretty lady, why don't you join us? If we're in the same team, all the supply boxes here will be ours. The muscular young man extended an invitation in a friendly manner. A Universe Pinnacle Assault controller was still a threat to their team. If they could really convince her to join, it would be a huge boost to their entire team. It would be like adding wings to a tiger. During that time, the others had already surrounded the supply boxes and Yi Zichen's team. It was clear that they would attack Yizichen's team the moment the young man gave the order. Boss, why are you wasting your breath on them? Isn't it just a peak offensive controller? We have two in the 8th level of the universe. Do we still need to be afraid of them? Yeah, we also have a lightning controller. In truth, the members of the other teams had said that in order to tell Yizichen and the others about their strength, they wanted to let them know just how strong they were. If they didn't want to die, then hurry up and leave. Also, they wanted to give you some time to think and make a decision. As expected, when they said that their team had 2 offensive manipulators, the expressions on Shi2's and the others' faces changed drastically. More importantly, they also had a lightning controller. Yiji, how about we give the supplies to them? Shi2 hesitated for a moment, then felt like it was better not to fight for the supply boxes. They would be able to get the supplies in the future. They only had one life. One had to know that when they came here, it was clearly stated that they could kill their competitors. Scared? Yizichen's expression was rather displeased when he heard Shi2's hesitation. He was terrified at this moment. If they really wanted to monopolize the supply boxes, they would have to face everyone here as their enemy. This was just the beginning. Now that they had encountered a team with decent strength, they were so afraid that they wanted to hand over their supplies. Then what was the point of talking about monopolizing supplies? Not to mention anything else, as long as this team was around, they would not be able to obtain a single supply box. I'm not afraid, I just think. Shi2 pursed his lips. Tiger Head suddenly walked out and started cursing. What's there to be afraid of? If they really want supplies, then come and get them. We worked so hard to get supplies, so why should we give them to them? If you're not satisfied, then come at us. Even if they can take away the supplies, we'll still make them lose a piece of meat. I agree. Amu narrowed his eyes and nodded. This was a matter of pride. At the universe level, who wasn't prideful? Why did a few words have to make them give up on the supply boxes that they had worked so hard for? Ha ha! The ignorant are truly fearless. The muscular young man laughed and looked at Yu. What do you think? I can't go to your place. Yu shook her head. I'm a fire controller, and my teammate is a water controller. If I go to your place, then he will naturally suppress me. It's better for me to stay here. Then you're going to become our enemy. The muscular young man's gaze also darkened. I don't want to. Yu shook her head silently. I don't know why you guys like fighting and killing so much. These supplies were obtained by us, so they should belong to us. You guys coming at this time is snatching. We are snatching, so what can you do? My dad, my best friend, always told me that my personality of not fighting needs to change. That's why they put me in this assessment area. Yu muttered softly, then ignited a flame in her palm. They also told me that if anyone tries to snatch it, they'll kill that person. If you insist on snatching it, then you'll all die. Yu muttered in a low voice before a flame ignited in his palm. What a joke. The sturdy young man suddenly laughed heartily. Then let us see just how capable you are to be able to kill us all. Attack. With that, the muscular young man's team charged forward. Yizichen raised his hand. Then, he saw you turn towards him. Yizichen hurriedly retracted the water. Boom! The flames turned into a sea of flames. The entire golden desert seemed to have turned into a sea of flames. Yu's eyebrows darkened, then raised her hand towards the sky, then slowly pressed down. Several tens of flaming dragons roared deafeningly. The people who charged forward all retreated, regardless of whether they were Universe Level 8 controllers or other members of the team. I agree with something Yizichen said. The difference between us isn't the difference between the 8 and 9 levels. It's that you can only reach the 8 levels, while for us, the universe level is only the 9 levels. You can't kill us. We're from the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, shouted the person who was about to be swallowed by the flames. What he didn't know was that his words had no effect on Yu. Heaven and Earth Pavilion? Never heard of it. Swallowed by the flames. Several members of the team were instantly turned to dust. Several Universe Level 8 controllers struggled to hold on, but they couldn't resist the heat of the flames. To everyone's surprise, the muscular youth clearly looked like a martial artist. They didn't expect him to be a fire controller as well. However, his control over the fire elements was far too lacking. What's more, there was still Yi Zichen. When he tried to control the fire elements to charge out of the flames, Yi Zichen controlled the water elements to wreak havoc around him. Even when he died, he didn't manage to form a layer of flame cloak. The fire dragons devoured him bit by bit. Before he died, he shouted in despair, "The heaven and earth pavilion will take revenge for us. Hurry up and die." With that, Yi Zichen condensed an ice spike and pierced it through the youth's forehead. The muscular youth instantly stopped breathing, allowing the flames to burn him to ashes. "What do you mean?" Yi Yu tilted her head in confusion. "What is it?" Yi Zichen also tilted his head in confusion. "Snatch points. All right, so that's what you like. I understand." Yu Yu nodded silently, then walked forward. Yi Zichen scratched his head awkwardly. "I was actually discovered." Chapter 2498. Everyone could see that. The strongest person in the group was the bulky young man. He definitely had the most points out of all of them. Yi Zichen killed him with an icicle, so he could get half of his points. Yi Zichen had thought that he had been quite secretive. He had also found a good excuse. He didn't expect you to see through him. Crap, we're in trouble now. Shitu couldn't help but mutter to himself as he looked at the people who had been killed. A hint of fear surfaced in his eyes. At the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, this was in several universe countries. They were all very famous factions. Based on the strength of those people, they were at least elites in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. If they were all killed, the Heaven and Earth Pavilion would definitely take their anger out on them. Shitu, how did you manage to reach the universe level when you're so overcautious? Yi Zichen couldn't help but frown when he saw Shitu's expression. You were the one who wanted to form the group. Did you call us over to admit defeat? If you're really afraid, then leave the competition right now, or leave this group. Yi Zichen's impression of Shitu was pretty good at the start. He was rather optimistic and meticulous. However, he was too cowardly. His personality wasn't wrong, but from the looks of it, it would definitely affect the group's morale quite a bit. Yi-Ji, you don't know. Shitu shouted with a frown. We're different from you and big sister you. Big sister, you should be from a large family. Your sister is a sovereign, so the Heaven and Earth Pavilion is naturally nothing in your eyes. But we're just normal people in the universe, and our families aren't any large families. In our eyes, the Heaven and Earth Pavilion is a colossus. You killed them all. You didn't even leave a single one alive. And the ones you killed were two of their controllers. A salt type, and one of them was a lightning type. Shitu's eyes were filled with despair. It was as if he could already imagine the future. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion would find him, and his family would allow them to take him away in fear of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion's strength. Any assault-type controller is a rare talent. Lightning type is even more so. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion might not cause trouble for you after you killed them, but will they let us go? Shitu shouted at the top of his lungs. Yi Zichen didn't want to retort, so he simply shook his head silently. Isn't it better to kill them all? Hu Tu didn't understand. If they kill them all, no one will know that we killed them. How could I not know? The competition this time will be broadcasted live. Shitu's eyes were red. Now, everyone in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion must know that we did it. They all know. This time's competition between geniuses. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion dispatched more than 3,700 elite members. There were 12 level 1 elites, 64 level 2 elites, and the rest were level 3 elites. The reason why these level 3 elites existed was to pave the way for level 1 elites and level 2 elites. They understood this very well. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion had always been like this. Relying on this method, batches of high-level elites were pushed forward. By the time the next hegemony tournament started, the level 3 elites would have grown into level 1 or level 2 elites. The Heaven and Earth Pavilion attached great importance to rank 1 and rank 2 elites. When they were participating in the hegemony contest, they would send out staff members to record their situation and report back every 3 days. In a deep mountain, this valley was surrounded by mountains. This was a branch of the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. The person overseeing this place was an elder-ranked administrator. Dong, dong, dong. There was a knock on the door. The middle-aged man, sitting on the sofa, glanced at the projection outside. Why are you here now? Didn't you just report the situation? It was the staff member who came to report the elite member situation. The middle-aged man in the room frowned slightly, but still opened the door. Sir, what's the matter? Yes, please take a look. The staff member nodded and walked over. He handed the middle-aged man a stone that was used to collect information. When the stone was placed on the table, a projection was projected out. Don't! Suddenly, the middle-aged man slammed his palm on the table. Instantly, the table under his palm turned into dust. Were the ranks of the dead members. 1 level 1 elite, 1 level 2 elite, and 4 level 3 elites. Damn it! The middle-aged man clenched his fist. He didn't really care about the deaths of level 3 elites. This time's hegemony contest was much bloodier than before. When they were sent to participate in the hegemony contest, the upper echelons had already tacitly agreed that there would be deaths. Level 2 elites. He could accept it. Although he felt a bit of heartache, it was still within the acceptable range. Level 1 elites. A level 1 elite actually died. I understand. The middle-aged man let out a deep breath. After a long while, he finally calmed down a bit. Send people to White Sky Planet. Remember these people who killed our members. As long as they leave here alive, immediately capture them. Yes. Also, go and investigate these people's backgrounds and strengths. Leave it to me. Understood. Seeing the staff member leave, the middle-aged man squinted his eyes and looked at the people in the projection. He wanted to see just who was so daring to act against level 1 and level 2 elites of the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth. Right now, the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth must have already sent people here. As long as we leave here alive, they will capture us. She too sat on the floor. Sidhu slumped onto the ground. They're arresting us, not Brother Yi and Sister Yu. Yi Zichen and Yu remained silent. They truly didn't know what to say. How about we leave as well? Yu shrugged after a moment of hesitation. I killed them. I'll make it clear to the people of the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth when we leave. Me too. Yi Zichen also shrugged. We'll take care of the problem. Don't worry. Also, she too, you're not suited to continue participating. Just leave. There's no need for you to continue with your personality. You don't have the heart to become strong. Seeing that the two of them were about to leave, Tiger Head, Amu, and Ling Qiao all opened their eyes wide. Big Brother Yi, Big Sister Yu, don't leave. Tiger Head shouted. If you guys leave, then we'll definitely be trampled upon here. Our journey to become the top will end here. I don't want to be in the same group as She Tuesday, me too. Yu and Yi Zichen nodded. Then, Tiger Head and company also spoke up. She too, just leave. Chapter 2499. What? What are you guys talking about? She too stared at the people in front of him, his eyes filled with disbelief. After all, he'd painstakingly built this team up bit by bit. If it weren't for him, it would have been impossible for this team to exist. She too, withdraw from the competition. The Tiger Head said without any hesitation. Tiger Head said without hesitation, we're doing this for your own good. For my own good. She too's pupils constricted as he pointed at the tiger's head and roared. He pointed at the tiger head and roared. If it weren't for me, do you think this team could exist? I'm the leader of this team. I'm the one who established it. That's how you got in touch with Yi Zichen and you. You're telling me to withdraw from the competition? Why? You're the founder, yes, but Big Brother Yi and Big Sister Yu have already abandoned you. Amu's gaze was cold. In the face of She too's questioning, he didn't react in the slightest. She too, I believe you understand. If we want to survive here and get a higher ranking, we need Big Brother Yi and Big Sister Yu, not you. Just now, you had instantly killed several elites of the Pavilion of Heaven and Earth on her own. Yi Zichen, the Master of Water, could release ice. From this, it was clear that the two of them were definitely at the peak of this year's examination. As long as they followed them, no matter how bad they were, they could still get into the top 100. To them, this was an opportunity they had to seize. How could they possibly give up? You guys. She too reached out and glared at the people in front of him. Then his gaze landed on Ling Qiao. Qiao, do you think so too? Ling Qiao, her bitter lips. They knew each other in the real world. Shita waited expectantly for Ling Xiao's reply. Then she nodded. Xiao. Shita sat down on the sand, as if he couldn't take the blow. Big brother Shitu, how about you withdraw for real? This is really for your own good. We're in the center of the desert. There are many golden sand lizards here. If you go alone, it'll be very dangerous. You're going to betray me too? Shitu reached out with a trembling hand. It's not a betrayal. Ling Xiao gently shook her head. Brother Shitu, I also think that you are too cautious. I'm just worried. What's wrong with me? Shitu's eyes were red. You don't even know what I'm shouldering. Have you ever considered why I did what I did? You don't know anything, but you think I'm wrong. So you betrayed me and followed them. In this universe, everyone strives to forge ahead. At this moment, you suddenly walked out and looked at him coldly. Don't think that you're the only one with a heavy burden. Everyone here is not alone. You don't have to feel that others don't understand you, because no one needs to understand you. As soon as he said that, you walked to the supply box without even looking back. He took out all the supplies from the supply box. He threw a bottle of pills on the ground in front of Shi Tuesday. This is your share. Following that, you collected the other supplies, weapons, equipment, and support tools from the Heaven and Earth Pavilion members she had just killed. If you want to go with us, follow us. Yi Zichen also turned around and left without much hesitation. He didn't feel like there was anything wrong with what you had said. Although she might have been a bit unreasonable, there was nothing wrong with her words. She'd have felt like the heavy burden on his shoulders forced him to live cautiously. He complained that others didn't understand him, but did he understand them? Was he the only one with a heavy burden? Yi Zichen had enemies like the Milky Way and the Sanyue Galaxy on his back. What did he say? What's more, he didn't give up on Shitu for anyone else. It was because of Shitu's overcautious and self-pitying personality. If someone like that always existed in the group, it would be a disaster for the entire group. It was a disaster for the entire group. If they encountered some strong enemies, they would want to leave the group. If they encountered some organizations, they would feel despair. That sort of personality. Actually, he had already lost the desire to become strong. Cultivation. He had always been going against the heavens. If he didn't advance, he would be pushed back. If he didn't have the courage to fight against the world, then what was the point of being in the universe? He might as well find a peaceful life planet and live a normal life. Also, they were here to participate in the elimination round. The elimination round's mechanism was to make everyone here an enemy. From the moment they entered the examination area, they were destined to be enemies with everyone. In that situation, if they didn't kill the people from the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, then they would kill Yi Zichen and the others. It was a fight to kill or be killed. In the end, he was actually afraid that the Heaven and Earth Pavilion would cause trouble for him. Since that was the case, he could just stick his neck out and let the people from the Heaven and Earth Pavilion chop it off. Shidu sat silently on the golden sand. He watched as Ling Xiao, Hu Tu, and Amu left with Yi Zichen and you. You guys, really Shitu, just quit. That way, you might be able to live. Amu glanced at him. Don't blame us. This is how the universe is. Only the strong have the right to speak. Yi Zichen patted Shitu's shoulder. Then, everyone hurried over to the next supply box. Shitu sat silently on the ground and clenched his fists with bloodshot eyes. He looked at the bottle of pills on the ground and took out his nameplate. It's over. He was also very clear that this round of elimination might really end here, but he just didn't understand what he had done wrong. He clearly just wanted to vent his anger so that he could get a bigger share of the resources when it came to the distribution. How did things end up like this? He didn't want to quit. However, without you and Yi Zichen, the chances of him returning to the continent alive and regrouping with another team were too slim. Hey bro, at that moment, several black-clothed men and women walked out of the Golden Desert. You should be one of Yi Zichen and Yu's team, right? Why are you the only one left here? Can't you tell? I've been abandoned. Shitu's eyes revealed a hint of resentment. There was a hint of resentment in Shitu's eyes. The young man nodded in understanding. That's not good news. Are you planning to withdraw from the competition? That's right. Quitting is too much of a pity. The leading young man squinted his eyes. This is just the beginning. If you quit now, you won't even be able to get into the top 10 million. Won't your family be disappointed? What are you trying to say? She too frowned. How about working together with us?